12 people have walked on the surface of the moon.
Fewer than that have ever reached the point we are about to descend toward. It lies not above us, but below, at the very bottom of the Pacific Ocean. This is Challenger Deep, the single deepest point in every ocean on Earth. From here, the surface looks exactly like any other stretch of open ocean. Nothing above hints at what waits nearly 7 miles beneath this exact spot. That distance is difficult to imagine, so let us begin building it, piece by piece. Mount Everest, the tallest point on land, could fit entirely beneath this surface. And more than a mile of open water would still remain above its summit. This is where our descent begins, in warm, sunlit water near the ocean's surface. At this depth, the ocean still feels familiar, close to the world most people know. But we have only just begun, and already the light is starting to change. Every 100 feet we descend, the sea grows a little darker, a little colder. By 600 feet, sunlight begins losing its warmth, its color fading toward gray. This is the edge of what scientists call the twilight zone of the open ocean. Here, light still exists, but barely enough for anything to see clearly by. Creatures here have adapted to this dimness, moving through shadow rather than light. We continue past them, deeper still, the light above growing fainter with every second. By 1,000 meters, sunlight has vanished entirely from the sea above us. This is the midnight zone, where the only light left comes from life itself. A jellyfish drifts past, its faint glow the only visible feature in this darkness. We continue past it, and the darkness returns, deeper and more complete than before. At this depth, pressure begins building steadily, invisible but already immense around us. By 2,000 meters, that pressure equals nearly 3 tons on every square inch. Yet even here, life continues, adapted entirely to this crushing, lightless world. An anglerfish waits motionless nearby, its glow the only light for miles around it. We leave it behind and continue our descent, deeper than most submarines ever travel. By 4,000 meters, we have entered what scientists call the abyssal zone. This zone alone covers more of Earth's surface than every continent combined. And still, we continue downward, this zone itself only a waypoint on our journey. Most of the ocean floor lies within this zone, flat and largely unexplored by anyone. But our destination lies beyond even this floor, in a trench cut deeper still. That trench begins here, where the ocean floor itself starts sloping steeply downward. This is the edge of the Mariana Trench, the longest trench found on Earth. It stretches for over 1,500 miles, curving along the edge of the Pacific. Along this entire length, one single point drops deeper than anywhere else. That point lies directly ahead of us now, within a narrow, crescent-shaped basin. That basin is named Challenger Deep, and we are drawing steadily closer to it. At 5,000 meters, pressure alone would crush most vessels ever built for the sea. Yet life persists even here, adapted through millions of years to survive this crushing depth. A small shrimp moves along the wall nearby, entirely unaware of the pressure surrounding it. We continue our descent alongside it, deeper into a region few have ever seen. By 6,000 meters, we have passed the depth of nearly every ocean trench elsewhere. But we continue past that threshold now, entering territory almost entirely unexplored by anyone. This is the Hadal Zone, named for the underworld itself, the deepest region of any sea. Fewer expeditions have reached this zone than have ever landed on the moon. That comparison is not an exaggeration. It is a simple, well-documented fact of exploration. We will return to that fact soon, once we finally reach the floor we are seeking. For now, we continue downward, past 7,000 meters, into territory few have charted. Small amphipods drift past here, scavengers adapted entirely to this extreme, crushing pressure. We leave them behind and continue our descent, the crevice narrowing further with every meter. By 8,000 meters, the crevice walls press closer, the trench narrowing steadily around us. This pressure now exceeds 8 tons on every single square inch of surface. Almost nothing built by human hands could withstand this force without specialized reinforcement.
And yet, somewhere nearby, a snailfish drifts calmly, entirely adapted to this exact pressure.
It holds the record for the deepest fish ever documented within any ocean. We continue our descent alongside its path, deeper still toward the trench floor below. At 9,000 meters, the floor begins appearing faintly, pale sediment stretching into darkness. This floor has remained undisturbed for longer than human civilization itself has existed. But we are not there yet. Nearly 2,000 more meters still remain below us. What we are seeing now is only the trench's outer edge, not its deepest true point. The true point, Challenger Deep itself, lies further within this same crescent basin. We follow that curve now, tracing the same path explorers have followed for decades. This basin was first mapped in the 1950s, using sound rather than sight. Sound waves sent downward returned data revealing depths no one had confirmed before. That survey ship gave this entire trench the name we still use for it today. The HMS Challenger lent its name to the very basin we are now approaching. That history, though, began long before sound waves ever confirmed this trench's true depth. In 1875, that same survey ship first lowered a weighted line into this water. That line continued unwinding far longer than the crew expected, thousands of feet below. When it finally reached bottom, they had recorded the deepest measurement ever taken by anyone. Their measurement, remarkably, came remarkably close to what modern instruments confirm today. With only rope and a weight, they had mapped a depth few could truly imagine. Nearly a century passed before anyone attempted to actually reach that depth themselves. That attempt finally came in 1960, aboard a vessel built specifically for this pressure. This vessel, the Trieste, followed almost exactly the same path we are following now. It carried two men inside a small steel sphere, built to resist this crushing pressure. Their journey took nearly 5 hours, descending slowly through every zone we have crossed. They passed through the twilight zone, the midnight zone, and the abyssal plain below it. Partway through their descent, a window in the outer hull cracked under the pressure. The entire vessel shook violently, yet the crew made the decision to continue downward.
That single decision would soon place them deeper than any human had ever traveled before.
We continue that same descent now, following their path toward this same waiting floor.
At 10,900 meters, their vessel finally touched the bottom of this trench. For the first time in history, two men stood at the deepest point on Earth. What they saw through their small window would change how we understood this sea forever. They expected barren emptiness, a lifeless world crushed beneath unimaginable pressure and darkness. Instead, they reported something moving across the floor, something clearly, unmistakably alive. A place, they claimed, drifted calmly past their window at the very bottom of the sea. That single sighting proved something remarkable. Life could survive even this extreme pressure.
Later, scientists would debate exactly what they saw, questioning whether it was truly a fish.
Regardless of the exact species, their broader claim has since been confirmed many times over.
Life does exist here, adapted completely to conditions that would kill nearly anything else. The Trieste's crew spent only 20 minutes at this depth before beginning their ascent. Sediment stirred by their landing had already clouded the water, limiting what more they could see.
Still, in those 20 minutes, they accomplished something no one before them ever had.
They proved that human beings could survive a journey to the deepest point on Earth. That achievement, remarkably, would not be repeated by anyone for over 50 years.
For half a century, this exact spot remained more remote than the surface of the moon. 12 astronauts walked on lunar soil during those same decades, cameras capturing every step. Meanwhile, this trench floor sat undisturbed, visited by no one, photographed by almost no one.
We have chosen, throughout this documentary, to spend real time exploring exactly why. That answer begins with the sheer difficulty of building anything capable of reaching here.
At this depth, pressure exceeds 16,000 pounds on every single square inch of surface. That is roughly equivalent to 50 jumbo jets stacked directly on top of a single person. Engineering a vessel to survive that force, reliably, took decades longer than anyone expected.
Throughout those decades, though, science did not entirely abandon this trench and its secrets. Sonar surveys continued mapping this basin from the surface, refining its exact depth carefully. Each survey added new precision, narrowing down exactly where the deepest point truly lay. By the 1990s, satellite and sonar data together produced remarkably accurate depth maps.
Unmanned landers also began descending here, carrying cameras rather than human passengers.
One such lander reached bottom in 1985, capturing footage far clearer than before. It confirmed what the Trieste's crew had claimed decades earlier.
Life truly exists down here.
Amphipods swarmed its bait within hours, proving this floor was far from truly empty. More unmanned expeditions followed throughout the 2000s, each adding new pieces to this picture.
Yet no human being returned here in person, not for over 5 full years. That absence would finally end in 2012, through an unexpected and determined effort. That effort came not from a government agency, but from an unlikely, determined individual. A filmmaker, better known for stories told above the water, funded his own vessel entirely. His submersible was designed to carry just one person, vertically, straight toward this floor. That design allowed for a faster, more direct journey than the Trieste had ever managed.
He reached the trench floor in just over 2.5 hours, remarkably fast.
There, alone, he became the 3rd person in history to reach this exact depth. He spent nearly 3 hours exploring this floor, far longer than the Trieste's brief visit.
In that time, he collected samples, filmed extensively, and documented creatures never seen alive before.
His footage revealed a floor far richer than anyone had previously imagined possible.
Sea cucumbers, amphipods, and single-celled organisms larger than anything found near the surface. This journey reopened public interest in a trench most people had entirely forgotten existed.
It also proved that private funding could accomplish what governments had long delayed pursuing.
Within a few years, that shift would bring even more expeditions back to this exact floor. In 2019, a different explorer descended here, this time as part of a larger project.
His goal was ambitious, reaching the deepest point in every one of Earth's 5 oceans.
Challenger Deep, naturally, represented the final and most difficult stop on that entire journey.
His submersible was built specifically for repeated dives, unlike any vessel that came before it.
He would go on to dive here multiple times, something no explorer had ever done before.
Each dive collected new data, new samples, and new footage of this remote, hidden world.
His team documented multiple snailfish here, expanding scientific understanding of this extreme species significantly.
They also recorded something far less encouraging, resting quietly upon this ancient, undisturbed floor. A plastic bag and pieces of wrapper debris had somehow reached this deepest point on Earth. No corner of this ocean, it turns out, remains fully untouched by human activity above. This discovery added new urgency to research already underway across this remote, extreme trench.
Scientists began studying not just the life here, but the pollution now reaching it too.
We will return to that concerning discovery later, once we have covered this trench's basic science. For now, we continue exploring exactly how this trench came to exist in the first place. This trench formed where one massive tectonic plate slides slowly beneath another, deep underground. The Pacific Plate sinks beneath the smaller Mariana Plate, bending the crust downward as it descends.
That bending motion, over millions of years, carved this exact trench into the ocean floor. The process continues today, this trench still slowly deepening with each passing century.
Earthquakes occur regularly along this boundary, some strong enough to be felt far above the surface.
Most remain too small to notice, quiet reminders of forces still actively shaping this trench.
This geology explains not just the depth here, but the extreme pressure we have described throughout.
Every additional meter of depth adds more water weight pressing down from directly above us. At the surface, we feel roughly 15 pounds of pressure across every square inch of skin.
Here, at the bottom, that figure has grown more than 1,000 times larger than at the surface.
This pressure explains why so few vessels have ever safely reached this exact depth.
Building a hull capable of resisting this force requires materials and designs pushed to their absolute limit. Even a small flaw in construction could prove catastrophic under pressure of this extreme and unforgiving. This is precisely why every successful expedition here required years of careful, meticulous preparation.
We have now traced this trench's history from its first measurement to its most recent expedition.
From a weighted rope in 1875 to repeated dives completed in recent years.
That journey has revealed a trench far more alive and far more fragile than early explorers ever imagined.
We will explore that life and that fragility in far greater detail within our next chapter. For now, let us return to that comparison we began this documentary with at the very start. 12 people have walked upon the surface of the moon since 1969.
Fewer than that number have ever reached the exact floor beneath us right now. The moon lies nearly 250,000 miles from Earth's surface, an astonishing distance.
Challenger Deep, by comparison, lies less than 7 miles beneath the surface of this ocean. Yet pressure, not distance, has made this trench far harder to reach than our own moon.
Space itself contains no pressure at all, only emptiness, vacuum, and the absence of resistance.
Here, resistance defines everything, every design choice, every material, every careful engineering decision. This single difference explains why so few vessels have ever successfully completed this exact journey.
We have now walked through nearly every recorded expedition to reach this exact floor.
From the Trieste's first cautious visit to the repeated dives completed in recent years.
Each expedition added new understanding, new footage, and new respect for this extreme environment.
That respect will guide everything we explore together throughout the remainder of this documentary.
We will examine the life found here in far greater detail within our next chapter together. Snailfish, amphipods, and organisms still being newly discovered within this remote, extreme trench.
We will also examine the pressure itself and exactly how life here manages to survive it.
Their bodies have adapted in remarkable ways, ways science is still working to fully understand. We will trace those adaptations closely, revealing exactly how life conquers this crushing pressure. We will also return to that plastic debris and what it truly means for this remote trench.
No place on Earth, it seems, remains fully beyond the reach of human influence above. That reality carries real weight, and we will not shy away from examining it honestly. We will also explore the modern technology now making this trench more accessible than ever before.
Robotic vehicles, advanced materials, and improved batteries have all transformed what exploration here truly looks like. We will trace that technology closely, revealing exactly how modern science now studies this extreme environment. We will also examine what this trench teaches us about our planet's deeper, ongoing history. We will trace those clues carefully,
revealing what this trench remembers about our planet's distant past.
We will also meet the scientists who dedicate their entire careers to studying this remote trench. Their work, though rarely making headlines, quietly shapes our understanding of this extreme environment. We will trace that work closely, honoring the patience required to study a place this remote.
Every chapter ahead builds directly upon the descent we have completed together within this first one.
We have traveled from bright, sunlit surface water down through nearly 7 miles of increasing darkness.
We have crossed the twilight zone, the midnight zone, the abyssal plain, and the Hadal zone below it.
Each zone revealed its own character, its own creatures, its own gradually increasing pressure and darkness. We have also traced this trench's human history, from a weighted rope to repeated modern expeditions.
Both histories, human and geological, converge here, at this single, extraordinary point on Earth.
We remain here now, at the bottom of that convergence, having finally completed our first full descent. From here, our journey continues, not upward toward the surface, but further into this trench's secrets.
The life we have only briefly glimpsed here deserves far closer, far more careful examination.
Snailfish, amphipods, sea cucumbers, and organisms still without names all wait within this darkness. We will meet them closely in our next chapter, examining exactly how they survive this crushing pressure.
Their bodies hold answers that may one day help humanity survive extreme environments of our own. Medical research, material science, and deep space engineering all draw quiet inspiration from this trench.
We will trace those connections carefully, revealing how this remote trench touches fields far beyond oceanography.
This is where our journey now turns, deeper still into the science this trench continues to reveal. We have reached the floor. We have traced its history. Now, we begin truly exploring it.
A snailfish drifts past once more, its pale form gliding gracefully through this crushing, silent world. We follow it now, curious to understand exactly how it survives conditions that would kill nearly anything else. Its body holds secrets, adaptations refined over millions of years within this exact, extreme environment.
Those secrets, and the creatures that hold them, will define everything we explore together next.
We have reached the point where the ocean ends, and where an entirely new kind of exploration begins.
12 people have walked on the moon. Fewer than that have stood exactly where we now remain.
That comparison opened this documentary, and it will guide everything that follows within it. We have descended nearly 7 miles, crossing every zone this ocean contains along the way. We have traced this trench's history, from a weighted rope to repeated dives completed in recent years.
That privilege carries real weight, and we intend to honor it throughout every chapter still ahead. In our next chapter, we meet the creatures who call this crushing darkness their only true home. We examine exactly how they survive, what they reveal, and why they matter far beyond this trench.
This is where our first descent ends, and where the true exploration of this trench begins. Next, we meet the creatures who have made this crushing darkness their permanent, extraordinary home. That is part 2.
We continue following this snailfish now, deeper into the darkness it calls home.
Its body appears almost fragile, pale, and gelatinous, entirely unlike fish found near the surface.
That fragility is deceptive. This body has been engineered by evolution for exactly this pressure.
Unlike most fish, it has no swim bladder, no gas-filled cavity that pressure could ever collapse. Instead, its tissues remain soft and flexible, allowing pressure to pass through rather than crush it. Its skeleton, too, has changed, softer and more flexible than the bones of shallow-water relatives. Even at the molecular level, this creature has rewritten the rules that govern life elsewhere. Scientists studying its cells found a special class of molecules called piezolites within them. These molecules protect proteins from folding incorrectly under this exact, extreme pressure. Without them, proteins essential to life would simply collapse under pressure of this severe. This single adaptation alone represents millions of years of extremely precise evolutionary refinement. It is not alone in possessing this adaptation, though it remains one of the most studied examples. Nearby, something else moves through this same darkness, smaller, faster, and far more numerous. A small swarm of amphipods drifts into view, scavenging steadily across the sediment nearby.
These creatures resemble small shrimp, though they belong to an entirely different group of animals.
Most measure barely an inch long, built for efficiency rather than size within this environment. But not every amphipod here follows that pattern. Some have grown far larger than expected. This phenomenon, called deep-sea gigantism, remains only partially understood by researchers today. Some hadal amphipods grow over 10 times larger than their shallow-water relatives elsewhere. Cold water, high pressure, and abundant oxygen may together explain this unusual, exaggerated growth. Whatever the exact cause, these creatures dominate the hadal food web in remarkable numbers. Researchers lowering bait to this depth often find it swarmed within hours by these same scavengers. This speed reveals just how efficiently this ecosystem responds to any sudden source of food. Food, after all, arrives rarely at this depth, and every opportunity must be seized quickly. Most nutrients here arrive as marine snow, organic matter drifting down from the surface far above. This snow can take weeks to complete its journey from sunlit water down to this trench floor. By the time it arrives, most of its original nutritional value has already been consumed elsewhere. What remains still sustains an unusual organism found almost nowhere else but this exact depth. This structure belongs to a xenophyophore, a single-celled organism grown remarkably large. Despite containing just one cell, some grow to nearly 4 inches across, remarkably large for their kind. They were first discovered here in significant numbers, surprising scientists who expected far less life. These organisms may play a larger role in this ecosystem than their simple structure first suggests. Smaller creatures shelter within their delicate structures, using them as protection from this crushing environment. This single organism, in its own quiet way, has become a foundation for an entire miniature ecosystem. We continue forward now, toward a different section of this trench floor entirely. Here, sea cucumbers rest quietly, some of the most abundant creatures found at this exact depth. Their soft, gelatinous bodies make them perfectly suited to this crushing, lightless environment below. Like the snailfish, they contain no rigid gas-filled cavities that pressure could ever collapse. They move slowly across this sediment, consuming organic matter buried within the mud itself. Their trails mark this floor gently, a quiet record of movement across a landscape rarely disturbed. We follow this trail now, curious where it might lead across this ancient, undisturbed floor. It leads us toward a section of the trench where pressure and darkness both feel even more absolute.
This is among the deepest sections yet explored, closer to 11,000 meters below the surface.
Here, life shifts from visible creatures toward something far smaller, yet equally remarkable in its persistence. Microbial mats coat sections of this floor, dense colonies of bacteria thriving in complete darkness. These bacteria do not rely on sunlight at all, drawing energy instead from chemical processes nearby. Minerals seeping from the trench floor itself provide the chemical energy these microbes depend upon. This process, called chemosynthesis, replaces photosynthesis entirely within this permanently sunless world. These microbes form the true foundation of this entire ecosystem, supporting everything living above them. Amphipods graze directly upon these microbial colonies, converting bacterial energy into food for larger creatures. That energy then passes upward, feeding sea cucumbers, xenophyophores, and eventually the snailfish itself. This is a complete, functioning ecosystem, built entirely without sunlight, existing at the bottom of the world. Sometimes, that chemical energy comes from something even more dramatic than simple mineral seepage. In certain sections of this trench, hydrothermal activity releases heat and minerals directly from Earth's crust. These vents create small oases of intense chemical activity within this otherwise quiet, sediment-covered world. Life here often clusters more densely, drawn toward this concentrated source of chemical energy nearby. This pattern echoes similar hydrothermal ecosystems found at shallower depths throughout the world's oceans. Yet here, that pattern repeats at a depth and pressure far more extreme than anywhere else documented.
We continue past this vent cluster now, returning to the trench's more typical, quieter sediment.
Occasionally, faint light flickers somewhere within this darkness, a brief signal from something living nearby. Bioluminescence remains common even at this extreme depth, a language written entirely in light. Some creatures use this light to attract prey. Others use it to communicate, or simply to startle predators. In a world with no sunlight at all, light itself becomes an entirely different kind of currency.
Scientists estimate that the majority of creatures living at this depth produce some form of light themselves.
That statistic alone reshapes how we should imagine this trench, not as empty, but as quietly, constantly alive. We continue forward now, leaving this field of light behind, toward a quieter stretch of trench floor. Occasionally, something far larger reaches this floor, transforming this entire ecosystem for years at a time.
This is a whale fall, the remains of a whale that sank here after dying near the surface.
A single whale carcass can sustain an entire community of deep-sea life for decades after arriving here. Specialized bone-eating worms colonize the skeleton itself, extracting nutrients directly from within the bone.
Amphipods, sea cucumbers, and countless microbes all gather here, drawn by this sudden, rare abundance.
Events like this remain rare, but they play an outsized role in sustaining life at this extreme depth. That lesson is simple. Life here survives on scarcity, adapted patiently to conditions of near-constant hunger.
Metabolisms here run slowly, deliberately, conserving every ounce of energy within this extreme environment.
The Mariana snailfish we followed earlier embodies this patience perfectly, moving slowly, conserving energy carefully.
We rejoin its path now, continuing our exploration of this trench alongside its own quiet journey.
Its discovery, decades ago, changed how scientists understood the absolute limits of vertebrate life. For decades, researchers believed fish simply could not survive beyond a certain depth threshold. That theory held for years, until snailfish like this one were documented far beyond that expected limit. It forced an entire field of biology to reconsider what pressure limits actually meant for living creatures.
Researchers now believe the true limit lies somewhere even deeper, closer to 8,200 meters.
Beyond that point, pressure may finally overwhelm even the most adapted vertebrate biology possible.
Challenger Deep itself lies well beyond that threshold, explaining why no fish has ever been found here. Below that biological threshold, only invertebrates and microbes continue this journey into deeper darkness.
This boundary, invisible to the eye, marks one of the most significant limits found anywhere in biology.
Amphipods, unrestricted by this same limit, continue drifting freely between both sides of that boundary. Their simpler biology, without a rigid vertebrate skeleton, allows them to descend even further than fish ever could. They have been documented at the absolute deepest point of this trench, right at its true floor.
We follow that same path now, continuing beyond where the pink deep-sea snailfish itself chooses to remain.
It remains behind us now, having guided us this far into this trench's remarkable, living darkness.
We follow these amphipods instead now, drawn toward the absolute deepest point this trench contains.
At nearly 11,000 meters, pressure here has grown more intense than anywhere else on this planet. Yet even here, life continues, small and resilient, entirely unbothered by conditions this extreme. Microbes, amphipods, and single-celled organisms together represent life's true final frontier within this ocean. Scientists continue studying exactly how far this frontier truly extends, testing its boundaries carefully. Sediment samples collected here have revealed microbial life at pressures once considered entirely impossible. Some bacteria found here can survive pressure exceeding even what exists at this trench's own deepest point. Researchers tested them under laboratory conditions, simulating pressure beyond anything found naturally on Earth. Remarkably, these microbes continued functioning, hinting at biological limits far beyond what anyone previously assumed. This finding carries implications reaching far beyond this trench, touching questions about life throughout the universe. If life can survive pressure this extreme here on Earth, it may survive similar conditions elsewhere too. Scientists studying moons like Europa now look to trenches exactly like this one for meaningful comparison. Beneath that moon's icy surface, scientists suspect an ocean may exist under similarly crushing pressure.
If life can survive here, it becomes genuinely reasonable to wonder what might survive there as well. This is why studying this trench matters far beyond simply understanding our own planet's deepest waters.
Every creature we have followed here contributes to questions reaching across biology, medicine, and space exploration. The piezolites protecting the snailfish's proteins now inform research into human medicine and food preservation.
Understanding how proteins resist pressure damage helps researchers develop better methods for storing vaccines safely.
A creature living nearly 7 miles beneath the surface now quietly informs medicine practiced in hospitals everywhere.
This connection between the deepest ocean and everyday human life remains largely unknown outside scientific circles.
We share it now, hoping it adds new weight to how you think about this trench going forward. This is not simply an empty, forgotten corner of the world's deepest ocean waters. It is a living laboratory, quietly shaping fields of study, and most people never connect to it at all.
We have now examined the primary creatures and processes defining life within this remarkable trench.
Snailfish, ghost amphipods, xenophyophores, microbes, and the delicate food web connecting each one together.
Each piece depends on the others, forming a fragile, patient balance sustained across millions of years.
That balance, though remote and largely hidden, deserves the same careful protection given to shallower ecosystems. We return now to that concerning discovery mentioned earlier, the debris found resting upon this ancient floor.
Plastic reaching this depth reveals something troubling about the scale of human influence across every ocean.
Researchers have found microplastics embedded within the very organisms living throughout this trench's food web. Amphipods here, when tested, showed measurable levels of plastic contamination within their digestive systems. That contamination likely originated thousands of miles away, carried downward through decades of ocean currents.
No corner of any ocean, it turns out, remains truly isolated from what happens near the surface. This trench, despite its extreme remoteness, remains fully connected to every choice made far above it.
Scientists studying this contamination hope it will encourage greater care for oceans at every depth. Their research continues here regularly, tracking exactly how this contamination changes over time within the trench.
That work, though sobering, represents exactly the kind of careful attention this remarkable trench deserves.
We carry that same attention forward now, continuing our exploration of this trench's remarkable, hidden life. Many creatures found here remain entirely unnamed, still awaiting formal scientific classification and description. Each expedition here reliably documents species never before observed by any human being or instrument. This trench remains, even today, one of the least explored environments found anywhere on Earth. Fewer than 30 human expeditions have ever successfully reached this exact trench floor.
That number continues growing slowly, each new expedition adding fresh understanding to this remarkable environment. We have now traced the creatures, the food web, and the science defining life at this extreme depth.
From the abyssal snailfish's molecular adaptations to the microbes surviving pressure beyond anything previously imagined.
Each adaptation represents a different solution to the exact same overwhelming, crushing problem. How does life continue when pressure alone would destroy almost anything built for the world above?
The answer, patiently written across millions of years, surrounds us now within this entire trench. Life does not resist this pressure. It learns, instead, to move alongside it entirely.
That lesson may be the most valuable thing this trench has to offer anyone willing to study it closely. We carry that lesson forward now, deeper into this trench's remaining secrets and unanswered questions. Ahead of us now lies a section of trench floor scientists have only recently begun mapping in detail. This region remained essentially unknown until recent expeditions finally brought instruments capable of studying it closely. We approach it now, curious to discover what this trench has kept hidden until only recently. Jagged rock formations rise unexpectedly from the sediment here, unlike the flat floor we have followed until now.
These formations likely resulted from tectonic activity, fragments pushed upward through this trench's ongoing geological process. Life clings to these rocks differently than to the surrounding sediment, adapted to this firmer, more stable surface.
Small anemone-like creatures attach themselves here, filtering whatever nutrients drift past within the passing current.
Their presence here suggests currents move through this section more actively than across the flatter sediment nearby. We continue past these formations now, carrying this new understanding forward into the trench's remaining darkness. Recent expeditions to this exact area documented several amphipod species never previously recorded by science. Their discovery reminds us how much of this trench still remains entirely unknown, even after decades of study. Each new species adds another thread to an ecosystem far more complex than early explorers ever imagined. We have moved far beyond the simple, barren emptiness once assumed to define this trench entirely. Instead, we have found a rich, interconnected community, patiently thriving under conditions almost beyond imagination. That vitality deserves genuine recognition, standing in sharp contrast to how this trench was once described. We offer that recognition now, having traced this ecosystem from its smallest microbe to its largest amphipod. We have examined pressure biology, chemosynthesis, bioluminescence, and the fragile food web connecting all of it. Each element revealed a trench far more alive and far more scientifically significant than most people ever realize. We turn now toward a different aspect of this trench, the technology making continued study here possible. Without advanced engineering, none of what we have witnessed here would ever have been documented at all. We will explore that engineering closely within our next chapter, examining exactly how humans reach this depth.
Materials, batteries, life support systems, and communication technology all face extraordinary challenges here. We will trace those challenges carefully, honoring the engineering achievement required to study this trench at all.
For now, we continue our examination of the life itself, this trench's most remarkable, enduring achievement. One creature in particular deserves closer attention before we conclude this chapter together. Tardigrades, microscopic creatures found throughout Earth, have also been documented within this trench's sediment. These creatures are famous for surviving conditions that would destroy nearly every other form of life on Earth.
They have survived exposure to space itself, extreme radiation, and pressure far beyond what most organisms tolerate.
Finding them here, within this trench, simply confirms what their reputation had already long suggested. Few environments on Earth, it seems, remain entirely beyond the reach of some form of resilient life.
That persistence may be the single most important lesson this entire chapter has offered us.
Life does not simply endure extreme conditions. It actively, patiently, remarkably adapts to thrive within them. We carry that lesson with us now, as our journey continues deeper into this trench's remaining chapters. We have examined life here thoroughly, from its smallest bacteria to its most resilient microscopic creatures. What remains is understanding exactly how humans have managed to reach and study this remarkable place.
That story involves engineering pushed to its absolute limits, and courage matched carefully with careful preparation. We will trace that engineering closely within our next chapter, honoring the effort required to reach here safely. Every vessel that has reached this floor represents decades of careful research and engineering refinement. We will meet the engineers and scientists behind that refinement, honoring their patient, careful work. Without their effort, everything we have witnessed within this chapter would remain entirely unknown to anyone.
We owe them genuine gratitude, carried forward now into the technical chapter that follows this one. For now, we pause briefly, reflecting on everything this chapter's exploration has revealed to us together. A trench once assumed empty now reveals itself as genuinely, remarkably alive at every single level. From microbes surviving impossible pressure to amphipods scavenging efficiently across this entire trench floor. From the delicate xenophyophore to the resilient tardigrade, each creature, like a miniature octopus, tells its own remarkable story. Together, they form a complete picture of survival, patience, and remarkable biological ingenuity. This picture deserves far more recognition than it typically receives outside dedicated scientific circles. We have tried, throughout this entire chapter, to offer exactly that recognition as clearly as possible. We move now toward the technical and human story, defining how this trench first became truly accessible. That story involves engineers, scientists, and explorers working across decades to overcome this pressure entirely. For now, we leave this chapter's creatures behind, carrying their story forward into what comes next. They continue their own quiet lives here, unaware of the documentary now carrying their story forward. We leave them now, grateful for everything their patient, resilient world has taught us here.
We continue forward now, toward the human effort that made witnessing all of this genuinely possible. That effort began, as we traced earlier, with a single weighted rope lowered in 1875. It continued through the Trieste's cracked window, and through decades of quiet, determined research afterward. It continued through a filmmaker's solo dive, and through repeated modern expeditions completed in recent years. Each step in that history required solving problems unique to this exact, extreme environment. We will examine those problems closely now, tracing exactly how engineers overcame them one by one.
Materials capable of resisting this pressure, batteries capable of powering hours of exploration, and systems capable of keeping explorers alive.
Each represents its own extraordinary engineering achievement, developed specifically to survive this exact environment. We will trace each one carefully within our next chapter, honoring the ingenuity required to reach this depth.
For now, we have completed our exploration of the life defining this remarkable, hidden trench ecosystem. That life continues now, exactly as it has for millions of years, entirely indifferent to our departure. Snailfish will keep drifting. Amphipods will keep scavenging. Microbes will keep converting minerals into energy. This entire ecosystem will continue functioning, quietly and completely, long after this documentary reaches its end.
We are simply fortunate to have witnessed a small, careful piece of that continuing, remarkable story. We move now toward the engineering that made this witnessing possible, honoring the effort behind it fully. Ahead of us now, faint outlines suggest the presence of technology built specifically for this depth. We approach it now, ready to examine exactly how humans engineered their way into this crushing darkness. That examination waits for us within our next chapter, continuing directly from where we now remain.
We have met the snailfish, the amphipods, the xenophyophores, and the microbes defining this remarkable ecosystem. We have traced their adaptations, their food web, and their surprising connections to fields far beyond oceanography. We have also confronted the sobering reality of plastic contamination reaching even this remote, extreme depth. That reality carries real weight, and we have carried it honestly throughout this entire chapter together.
We now turn toward the final section of this chapter, gathering everything we have learned together.
This trench, once assumed lifeless, has revealed itself as one of the most fascinating ecosystems on Earth. Its creatures, its chemistry, and its connections to science far beyond this water deserve genuine, lasting attention. We have offered that attention as fully as we could within this single, careful chapter together.
What remains now is understanding the engineering, courage, and preparation required to witness it firsthand.
That understanding waits for us just ahead, continuing directly from this exact point within the trench. Next, we examine the engineering that finally made this crushing depth truly accessible to humanity. That is part 3.
We move closer now, toward this vessel resting quietly upon the trench floor ahead. Its rounded shape emerges slowly, catching faint light reflected from its own external systems. At its core sits a sphere, the single most important component of any vessel reaching this depth. A sphere distributes pressure evenly across its entire surface, unlike any other possible shape. This even distribution prevents any single point from bearing more force than the rest. Modern spheres are built from titanium, chosen specifically for its strength relative to weight. Some walls measure over 3 inches thick, dense enough to resist this trench's crushing pressure. Even a microscopic flaw within this metal could prove catastrophic under conditions this extreme.
Manufacturing a sphere this precise requires specialized facilities found in only a handful of places worldwide.
Every weld must be tested repeatedly, checked for imperfections invisible to the naked eye alone.
Before ever reaching this trench, this same sphere endured pressure tests, simulating depths even greater than this. Engineers deliberately exceed expected conditions, building in margin against any possible failure point. A small viewport interrupts this otherwise seamless sphere, offering the only direct view outward.
This viewport represents one of the most vulnerable points across the entire vessel's design.
Its cone shape actually strengthens under pressure, wedging tighter into its frame as depth increases. This is precisely the design that failed the Trieste decades ago, cracking under similar pressure.
Modern engineers studied that exact failure closely, refining the design significantly over subsequent decades. Today's viewports undergo testing far more rigorous than anything available when the Trieste first descended.
Surrounding this sphere, a lighter material provides buoyancy, keeping the entire vessel from sinking uncontrollably. This material, called syntactic foam, contains millions of tiny glass bubbles resistant to crushing pressure. Without it, the sphere alone would sink far too quickly, offering no meaningful control during descent. Engineers calculate this buoyancy precisely, balancing weight against the need for controlled, careful movement. Small thrusters mounted along the exterior allow pilots to adjust direction carefully during this long descent.
Even these small components must resist the exact same crushing pressure, affecting the vessel entirely.
A separate system of dropped weights controls the vessel's ascent, released once exploration here concludes.
Without power, without any mechanical failure risk, gravity alone guarantees a safe return upward. This redundancy reflects a broader philosophy, guiding every decision made throughout this vessel's design. Powerful LED lights illuminate this darkness, allowing cameras and eyes alike to finally see clearly here. Without this light, this entire trench would remain exactly as dark as it has always been. That light reveals the very creatures we followed throughout our previous chapter within this trench.
External cameras capture this footage continuously, documenting everything encountered throughout the entire descent.
These housings must remain perfectly sealed, protecting delicate electronics from water pressure of this severe. A single leak, however small, could destroy thousands of dollars in equipment within moments here.
Communication here presents its own unique challenge, radio waves failing entirely within seawater this deep.
Instead, vessels rely on sound, acoustic signals traveling upward toward waiting ships far above.
These signals take several seconds to travel this entire distance, a delay pilots must account for constantly.
Every system we have examined so far shares one thing in common: complete and total redundancy. No single failure, however severe, should ever prevent a safe return to the surface above.
This philosophy developed slowly, refined across decades of careful engineering and hard-earned experience. The Trieste, unlike modern vessels, used gasoline rather than syntactic foam for its buoyancy system.
Gasoline is lighter than water and largely incompressible, making it a practical choice at that time.
That float required enormous volume, far larger than the small crewsphere it was designed to support. Inside that sphere, two men sat in cramped conditions for nearly 9 hours during their historic dive. Iron shot, held magnetically, provided their descent weight, released steadily to control speed downward. If power failed entirely, magnets would release automatically, allowing this same iron to fall away naturally.
This single failsafe, remarkably simple, guaranteed their return even under total system failure.
Inside, temperatures dropped sharply as the vessel descended through increasingly cold, deep water. The crew endured this discomfort silently, focused entirely on instruments guiding their historic, careful descent. That crack, though frightening, taught engineers exactly what future vessels would need to avoid entirely. Every subsequent vessel benefited directly from data collected during this single, historic, groundbreaking dive.
We move forward now, decades ahead, toward the vessel that finally returned humans to this exact floor.
This vessel took an entirely different shape, vertical and slender, unlike the Trieste's rounded, bulky design. This vertical orientation reduced drag significantly, allowing far faster descent than any previous vessel achieved.
A single pilot occupied a compact chamber near its base, surrounded by carefully arranged instruments and controls.
Its body, built largely from syntactic foam, represented a major engineering advance over gasoline-based buoyancy.
This material required years of specialized development, engineered specifically to resist this trench's crushing depth.
Its designer worked closely with engineers for years before this vessel ever touched open ocean water. Battery systems powered every component aboard, from thrusters to lighting to essential life support functions. These batteries, like every other component here, required specialized housing to survive this crushing pressure. A battery failure at this depth could end an expedition instantly, leaving a pilot stranded far from help. Life support systems aboard provided oxygen while carefully removing carbon dioxide from this sealed environment. This chemical process runs continuously, silently, keeping a single pilot alive throughout hours of complete isolation. For nearly 3 hours, this pilot remained here, entirely alone, deeper than any other living person. A mechanical arm extended from this vessel, collecting samples directly from the sediment nearby. This arm allowed direct interaction with this environment, something earlier vessels could never accomplish safely. Samples collected here traveled back to laboratories, revealing chemistry and biology never before documented.
We continue forward now, toward the vessel representing the most significant engineering advance yet developed.
This vessel was designed from its very foundation for something no previous submersible had ever achieved. Repeated dives, day after day, without the extensive rebuilding that earlier vessels required between journeys. Its titanium sphere, forged specifically for this purpose, could withstand dive after dive without measurable fatigue.
Engineers tested this exact design far more rigorously than any submersible built before it. Simulated dives, pressure chamber testing, and careful material analysis all preceded this vessel's first true descent.
Unlike the solo pilot chamber before it, this vessel could carry multiple people during a single dive. This expanded capacity allowed scientists to accompany pilots, observing and documenting this environment firsthand together. That collaboration produced research far more detailed than any single pilot could have gathered alone. Advanced sample collection systems aboard preserved specimens under conditions matching this trench's exact pressure. Without this preservation, delicate organisms would collapse instantly upon reaching the pressure of the surface. This innovation alone allowed scientists to study creatures far more completely than ever before possible.
This vessel also carried advanced sonar, mapping the trench floor with precision that no previous expedition achieved.
These maps revealed terrain features invisible to every previous expedition, refining our understanding of this trench significantly.
We have now examined 3 distinct generations of engineering, each building carefully upon the last. From gasoline and iron shot, to syntactic foam and single-pilot precision, to titanium and repeated capability. Each generation solved problems the last generation could only partially address within their own limitations.
That progress did not happen quickly. Decades separated each major engineering breakthrough throughout this history.
Engineering at this scale requires exactly that patience, testing thoroughly before ever risking human lives here. We now turn toward the unmanned technology that has quietly expanded this trench's study even further. Not every expedition here has required a human pilot risking their life within this crushing depth.
Unmanned landers, far simpler and less expensive, have descended here regularly since the 1990s. These landers carry cameras, sensors, and bait, gathering data without any human presence required aboard. Their simplicity offers real advantages: lower cost, reduced risk, and the ability to deploy far more frequently. Research teams can deploy several landers across a single expedition, gathering data from multiple locations simultaneously.
Bait attracts scavengers directly toward waiting cameras, documenting behavior difficult to capture through any other method.
This is precisely how the giant amphipods, resembling the Eurythis plasticus species we examined earlier, were first.
Data collected here stores locally, retrieved only once the lander returns safely to the surface above.
This design eliminates the need for continuous communication, simplifying engineering requirements significantly compared to manned vessels. Robotic vehicles represent the next evolution beyond these simple landers, offering far greater capability and control. This remotely operated vehicle connects to the surface through a long, reinforced cable, unlike the simpler landers before it.
That cable transmits both power and real-time video, allowing operators on the surface to watch and react instantly.
Unlike autonomous landers, these vehicles can adjust their exploration path immediately, following anything genuinely interesting.
Multiple mechanical arms allow these vehicles to collect samples with precision, matching manned submersibles closely.
Without risking human life at all, researchers can now conduct detailed fieldwork throughout this entire trench. This shift toward robotic exploration reflects broader trends across nearly every field of deep-sea research today. That cable, however, limits exactly how far this vehicle can travel from its supporting surface vessel. Fully autonomous vehicles, these vehicles carry their own power, their own navigation, and their own decision-making systems entirely on board.
Programmed with specific survey paths, they can map vast areas of trench floor without any continuous human guidance.
One such vehicle recently completed the first complete high-resolution map of this entire trench floor.
That achievement took years of careful planning, testing, and patient, methodical survey work throughout. This map now guides every subsequent expedition, revealing exactly where the trench's true deepest point lies.
Before this map existed, even experienced pilots relied on estimates rather than precise, confirmed data. This precision matters enormously when navigating an environment where every meter carries additional, crushing pressure.
We have now traced engineering from a simple weighted rope to fully autonomous, self-guided exploration vehicles. That progression spans nearly a century and a half, each generation solving problems the previous one could not.
We now turn toward one final piece of this engineering story, the materials science underlying everything examined. Titanium alone did not simply appear ready for this task, requiring decades of careful metallurgical research beforehand.
Different titanium alloys were tested repeatedly, engineers searching for the exact balance of strength and workability.
Too brittle, and the sphere could crack under sudden stress. Too soft, and it could deform under pressure.
Engineers eventually settled on a specific titanium alloy, tested extensively before ever being trusted with human lives. That trust took years to earn, built through countless simulations before any actual dive ever occurred. Pressure chambers on the surface simulated conditions found here, testing every component before risking actual descent.
These chambers can exceed the exact pressure found at this trench's deepest point, providing genuine safety margin.
Only after passing these extreme tests repeatedly did engineers finally approve any vessel for actual human use here. That caution, however time-consuming, has produced a genuinely excellent safety record across recent expeditions here. No fatal incident has occurred during any modern expedition to reach this exact trench floor. That record represents the true achievement underlying everything we have examined throughout this entire chapter. Not simply reaching this depth, but reaching it safely, repeatedly, and with genuine scientific purpose. We turn now toward the people behind this engineering, the scientists and pilots who make it truly possible. Every dive here begins long before any vessel touches this trench's crushing, extreme, waiting water. Months of planning precede a single successful expedition, coordinating equipment, weather, and highly specialized personnel together.
Weather windows must align precisely. Calm surface conditions essential before any safe deployment can begin.
A single storm can delay an entire expedition by days, waiting patiently for conditions to finally improve. Pilots undergo extensive training before ever attempting a dive to this exact, extreme, unforgiving depth. They must understand every system intimately, prepared to respond calmly to any unexpected mechanical issue. That calm response could mean the difference between a successful dive and a genuinely dangerous emergency. Support teams on the surface monitor every dive continuously, tracking position, systems, and communication throughout. These teams remain ready to coordinate rescue efforts, though such efforts have thankfully never been genuinely needed. That preparedness, even unused, represents an essential part of responsible exploration at this extreme depth. We have now examined engineering, materials, testing, and the human preparation required to reach this trench safely. Each element reveals just how much effort stands behind every minute spent within this remarkable trench. That effort makes everything we witnessed throughout our previous chapter genuinely possible for anyone to see. Every creature we followed, every adaptation we examined, reached us through this exact chain of careful engineering. We owe genuine gratitude to everyone who contributed toward building that chain across nearly a century and a half. We carry that gratitude forward now, deeper into this trench's remaining scientific and historical significance.
Today, this engineering continues evolving, researchers refining every system based on lessons learned repeatedly.
New materials, lighter and stronger than titanium, are currently being tested for potential future vessels. Advanced composite materials may eventually reduce vessel weight while maintaining this exact required pressure resistance. Lighter vessels could descend faster, spend more time exploring, and require less complex support infrastructure. Battery technology, too, continues improving steadily, offering longer exploration time with each new generation. Future expeditions may spend entire days here rather than mere hours, documenting this trench far more thoroughly. That extended time would allow researchers to observe behaviors and processes simply impossible during brief current visits. We look forward to that future, carrying genuine hope for what remains still undiscovered within this remarkable trench.
For now, we have completed our examination of the engineering defining human presence within this trench.
That examination revealed titanium spheres, syntactic foam, acoustic communication, and decades of careful, patient testing. It also revealed unmanned landers, remotely operated vehicles, and fully autonomous systems, expanding this study further. Together, these technologies transformed this trench from an inaccessible mystery into a genuine field of active study.
We turn now toward what all of this engineering and study has ultimately revealed about our planet.
Beyond biology and engineering, this trench holds geological secrets reaching back millions of years into Earth's past. Every layer of sediment settled here quietly, undisturbed, recording conditions from the exact moment it arrived. Scientists extract core samples here, reading these layers like pages within an ancient, patient geological book. This tube, carefully extracted, preserves that record intact, ready for detailed analysis back on the surface. Each layer reveals information about ocean temperature, chemistry, and climate, stretching back millions of years. This record, undisturbed by surface weather or human activity, remains remarkably pure compared to shallower locations. Researchers value this purity enormously, offering clearer insight into Earth's ancient climate than most other sources.
Understanding past climate helps scientists predict how our current climate may continue changing going forward.
This trench, remote as it seems, directly informs research addressing one of humanity's most pressing modern challenges: silts. That connection between the deepest ocean and our planet's changing climate. We offer that recognition now, carrying it forward into our exploration of the trench's remaining geological history. We examined this trench's tectonic origin briefly within our first chapter, tracing its formation carefully. That origin continues shaping this trench actively, geological forces still working slowly beneath this exact sediment.
Seismic monitoring stations positioned throughout this region track every tremor originating from this active boundary.
This data helps researchers understand earthquake risk affecting communities living along the surrounding Pacific coastline. Once again, this remote trench proves directly relevant to human lives lived far above its crushing darkness. We have now examined biology, engineering, climate history, and geological significance across 2 complete chapters. Each chapter revealed a trench far more significant, far more connected than most people ever realize. We carry that significance forward now, toward the human stories defining exploration here across recent decades. We move now toward the explorers themselves, the people who chose to risk this crushing, extreme journey personally.
We have mentioned several already throughout our previous chapters, though largely through the vessels they piloted.
Their personal motivations, though, deserve closer examination within the chapter that now lies just ahead. Why would anyone choose to risk everything, descending nearly 7 miles into total, crushing darkness? That question deserves a thoughtful, honest answer, one we will explore carefully within our next chapter together.
For now, we conclude our examination of the engineering that quietly made all of this possible.
We have traced titanium spheres, syntactic foam, acoustic systems, and autonomous robots across nearly a century.
Each represents human ingenuity applied patiently against one of the most extreme environments our planet contains.
That ingenuity deserves genuine celebration, standing alongside the biological wonders we examined throughout our previous chapter.
Life and engineering together define this trench's true, complete story, each depending entirely upon the other.
Without engineering, we would know nothing of the life found here. Without that life, this engineering would lack genuine purpose. We carry this understanding forward now, toward the human stories completing this remarkable, complete narrative. We have covered fact, biology, and engineering across 3 complete, careful chapters together. 3 chapters remain, each bringing us closer to a complete, honest understanding of this remarkable trench. We move toward those remaining chapters now, carrying every lesson learned throughout our journey so far. A titanium sphere resting quietly here now represents decades of careful, patient human achievement. It carried explorers safely to depths once considered entirely impossible for any human being to reach.
That achievement stands alongside space exploration as one of humanity's most remarkable engineering accomplishments. We return, one final time within this chapter, to the comparison that opened our entire documentary.
Reaching the moon required rockets capable of escaping Earth's gravity entirely, a genuinely extraordinary engineering achievement.
Reaching this trench required something different, vessels capable of resisting rather than escaping overwhelming force.
Both achievements demanded genuine courage, careful preparation, and engineering pushed to its absolute practical limit.
Yet one achievement remains far more celebrated culturally than the other, despite comparable difficulty and significance.
This documentary has tried, throughout every chapter, to close that gap even slightly, one careful scene at a time.
We believe this trench deserves recognition, matching the achievement required to finally understand it.
We offer that recognition now, carrying it forward into the remaining chapters of this careful, complete journey. We have examined every major system, every material, and every technological generation defining this trench's accessibility. What remains now is understanding the people who chose to use this engineering, risking everything to explore personally. Their stories carry weight beyond simple engineering achievement, revealing something deeper about human curiosity itself.
We will trace that curiosity carefully within our next chapter, honoring the people who followed it here personally. For now, we pause here, having completed our thorough examination of this trench's remarkable engineering story.
Titanium, syntactic foam, autonomous robots, and acoustic communication have all found their place within this careful record.
Each element, carefully examined, revealed just how much effort brought us this far into this remarkable trench. We move now toward the final 3 chapters, honoring the people, the danger, and the future still ahead. We carry everything learned here forward, into the human stories waiting patiently within our next chapter.
This is where engineering ends and human courage genuinely begins within this remarkable, ongoing story.
We have built the sphere. We have tested the hull. Now, we meet the people who trusted it entirely. 2 men in a small sphere, decades ago, trusted engineering barely tested against this exact pressure. A filmmaker, decades later, trusted a single pilot vessel he had personally helped design and refine. An explorer, more recently, trusted a titanium sphere built specifically for repeated, reliable, scientific exploration. Each of them shared something essential: a willingness to trust careful engineering against genuinely overwhelming odds.
That willingness, more than any single piece of engineering, made everything within this trench genuinely knowable. We honor that willingness now, carrying it forward into the personal stories awaiting us within our next chapter. We have built the vessel together. We have tested every system carefully. Now, we meet the explorers themselves.
This is where our story turns from steel and titanium toward the people who trusted them completely.
Next, we meet the explorers who risked everything to reach this crushing, extraordinary depth. That is part 4.
We move toward that light now, drawn by a story reaching back nearly 7 decades. This light represents memory itself, the history of 2 men who first dared this journey. One came from a family already deeply connected to exploration, long before this trench ever called him. His father had designed balloons capable of reaching the upper atmosphere, decades before this dive occurred. That same engineering knowledge, adapted for pressure rather than altitude, eventually shaped this exact submersible.
Extremes fascinated this family, whether reaching toward the sky or descending into the deepest ocean. His companion aboard that historic dive came from a very different background entirely, trained within the Navy.
He brought discipline and careful precision, quality essential for surviving hours within such cramped conditions. Together,
These two men represented a genuine partnership between engineering vision and disciplined execution. Neither could have completed this journey alone, each depending entirely upon the other's specific expertise. Before this dive, both men understood clearly the genuine risk this journey actually represented.
No vessel had ever attempted this exact depth, meaning every calculation remained largely theoretical until tested.
They understood that failure here would leave no possibility of rescue, no realistic chance of recovery.
Despite this genuine danger, both men chose to proceed, motivated by something deeper than simple ambition.
They believed genuinely that this journey would advance human understanding in ways worth this significant risk.
That belief proved accurate, their single dive reshaping biology's understanding of life's absolute limits entirely. What we did not fully explore was exactly what that moment must have genuinely felt like inside. A sudden, violent shudder, an unknown sound, and the very real possibility their journey had just ended. In that moment, both men had to decide quickly, calmly, whether to continue or immediately abort.
They chose to continue, trusting their instruments, their training, and the engineering surrounding them completely.
That choice, made calmly under genuine pressure, defined the difference between success and catastrophic failure. Their reward arrived shortly after, that pale flatfish, a flounder, drifting calmly past their small, cracked window. In that instant, every risk taken throughout this journey felt genuinely, completely justified to both men. They returned to the surface as heroes, celebrated briefly before the world's attention shifted elsewhere entirely.
Within a decade, humanity's attention turned upward, toward a different kind of extreme exploration entirely. The space race captured public imagination completely, funding and attention flowing toward reaching the moon instead.
This trench, remarkable as it was, simply could not compete with rockets and astronauts for public attention.
That is not a criticism of either achievement, simply an honest reflection of where human curiosity turned.
For 50 years, this trench waited patiently, its story preserved only within scientific records and occasional footnotes. One man, though, never entirely forgot this trench, carrying its memory quietly throughout his own career. This filmmaker had spent decades creating stories about the ocean, long before ever attempting to visit its deepest point.
His fascination began young, reading about the Trieste's historic dive as a child, captivated by its story.
That fascination never faded, quietly shaping decisions throughout an entire career spent telling ocean-focused stories. Eventually, resources and determination aligned, allowing him to pursue this childhood fascination directly and personally. He funded this vessel's entire development personally, working closely alongside engineers throughout years of careful design. This was not simply funding someone else's project, but genuine, hands-on involvement throughout every design decision.
He tested systems personally, understanding every component intimately before ever trusting his own life to them. That intimate understanding proved essential once his solo descent finally began in earnest. Alone within that narrow chamber, he faced this trench with no companion, no partner sharing this exact risk. That solitude represented a genuinely different kind of courage than the partnership shown decades earlier here. No one aboard could share the decision-making, the responsibility resting entirely upon a single person alone.
He later described this solitude as profoundly meaningful, offering perspective impossible to find anywhere else on Earth. Few places on Earth offer genuine isolation this complete, this far removed from any other human presence. That isolation, rather than frightening him, apparently offered something closer to genuine peace and clarity. He spent nearly 3 hours here, far longer than his predecessors, documenting this trench thoroughly and carefully. That extended time allowed observation and reflection, impossible during the Trieste's brief, 20-minute historic visit. He later spoke of feeling profoundly connected to something larger than himself throughout this solitary journey. That feeling, difficult to fully articulate, seems to echo across nearly every explorer who has reached this exact depth. Perhaps genuine isolation, rare anywhere else on this crowded planet, offers something valuable simply by existing here. His journey, once complete, reignited public interest in this trench after decades of quiet, patient dormancy. Documentaries, articles, and renewed scientific funding followed steadily throughout the years immediately after his dive. His personal journey had accomplished something few individuals ever manage, genuinely shifting scientific priority through direct action. That shift would soon bring an entirely different kind of explorer toward this same, extraordinary trench floor. This explorer approached the trench differently entirely, driven less by childhood fascination and more by systematic ambition.
A successful businessman with a background in finance and naval intelligence, he approached exploration methodically.
His goal was clear and specific, reaching the deepest point within every one of Earth's 5 recognized oceans.
This ambition required an entirely different vessel than either the previous expedition had ever attempted or needed.
A single dive could not accomplish this broader goal, requiring instead a vessel capable of sustained, repeated use.
He commissioned this vessel specifically, working closely with engineers throughout years of careful, systematic development.
Unlike his predecessor, he approached this challenge as a systematic engineering problem requiring careful, methodical solutions.
That approach proved remarkably successful, his vessel completing dive after dive without significant complication or failure.
He completed his first dive to this exact trench floor in the spring of 2019, becoming the 4th person here.
Unlike previous explorers, though, he would not stop after achieving this single, historic milestone alone. He returned repeatedly throughout that same year, each dive adding new data and refining scientific understanding further.
This repeated access allowed something unprecedented, bringing scientists and specialists directly to witness this trench firsthand.
A geologist descended alongside him, examining this trench's rock formations with professional, trained expertise directly. A former astronaut joined a separate dive, becoming the first person to reach both space and this exact depth.
She had orbited Earth decades earlier, and now stood at the planet's single deepest point entirely.
Her perspective, having witnessed both extremes personally, offered genuinely unique insight into exploration itself. She described both journeys as humbling, each revealing how small human presence remains against overwhelming natural scale. That humility, shared across explorers reaching toward both space and this trench, seems remarkably consistent throughout history. Perhaps genuine extremes, wherever found, teach the same essential lesson about our place within a larger universe. This businessman's repeated dives also brought purely scientific researchers, unconnected to fame or personal achievement entirely. Marine biologists descended specifically to study the creatures we examined so thoroughly throughout our previous chapters. Their direct observations confirmed and expanded findings previously known only through unmanned landers and remote sensors. Direct human observation, despite modern robotic capability, still offers something genuinely irreplaceable within careful scientific study. A trained scientist's intuition, adapting immediately to unexpected observations, remains difficult to fully replicate through automation. This is precisely why manned exploration, despite its cost and genuine risk, continues alongside robotic alternatives today.
Both approaches, human and robotic, complement rather than replace each other within this trench's ongoing study. We now understand engineering, biology, and the personal motivations driving explorers toward this remarkable trench.
Yet one question remains genuinely unanswered: exactly what psychological effect this extreme journey has on explorers themselves.
Researchers have begun studying this question directly, interviewing explorers about their experiences both during and after.
Common themes emerge repeatedly across these interviews: regardless of when or how each explorer completed their journey. Nearly every explorer describes profound silence, a quality of quiet unmatched anywhere else they had previously experienced. No phone signal, no internet, no possibility of interruption from anything beyond this vessel's own sealed walls.
Many explorers describe this isolation as genuinely meditative, offering clarity difficult to achieve anywhere else on Earth.
Several have described experiencing what researchers call the overview effect, previously documented mainly among astronauts. This effect involves a profound shift in perspective, recognizing humanity's genuine smallness against overwhelming natural scale. Astronauts report this feeling gazing back at Earth from space, a small, fragile world suspended in darkness. Explorers here report something remarkably similar, despite facing the opposite direction entirely, downward rather than outward. Perhaps genuine extremes, regardless of direction, produce remarkably similar psychological effects within the human mind. This research remains ongoing, scientists continuing to study exactly how extreme environments reshape human psychology. Their findings may eventually inform how humanity prepares astronauts for even longer journeys, toward Mars and beyond. This trench, once again, proves relevant far beyond its own remote, isolated, crushing location on Earth.
We now turn toward the physical demands this journey places upon the human body throughout its careful descent.
Inside the sealed sphere, explorers experience surface pressure throughout their entire journey, protected by careful engineering.
Yet other physical demands remain genuinely present, regardless of this careful pressure protection provided throughout.
Cramped conditions require explorers to remain motionless for hours, testing physical endurance in unexpected, subtle ways.
Temperature also drops noticeably inside, despite insulation, as the vessel descends through increasingly cold water.
Explorers often wear multiple layers, preparing carefully for temperatures approaching freezing within this sealed environment. Bathroom facilities remain minimal or entirely absent, requiring careful physical preparation before every single dive. These practical challenges, though rarely discussed publicly, represent genuine considerations every explorer must carefully address.
We share these details not to diminish the achievement, but to offer honest, complete understanding of this journey.
Exploration, even at its most remarkable, involves genuinely mundane physical challenges alongside profound psychological experience. Both elements together create the genuinely complete human experience of reaching this extraordinary, extreme trench floor. We turn now toward the ascent itself, a journey often overlooked despite carrying its own genuine significance. Returning to the surface requires the same careful patience as the original descent, nothing rushed or hurried. Weighted ballast, released carefully, allows the vessel to rise steadily back through every zone we previously described. That ascent typically takes several hours, mirroring the careful pacing required during the original downward journey. Explorers describe this return journey differently than the descent, often quieter, more reflective, processing what they witnessed. The excitement of descent gives way gradually to quieter contemplation as the surface approaches steadily above. Sunlight eventually returns, first as faint hints, then as genuine, warming illumination throughout the ascending water.
Explorers describe this returning light as genuinely emotional, a welcome reminder of the world they temporarily left behind.
Breaking the surface finally, after hours of complete isolation, represents its own genuinely powerful moment entirely. Support teams wait anxiously above, ready to recover both vessel and explorer safely back onto the surface. That recovery, though routine by modern standards, still carries genuine relief for everyone involved throughout the process.
We have now traced this journey completely, from initial descent through exploration toward eventual, careful return.
That journey, repeated across decades by different explorers, reveals consistent themes despite vastly different circumstances. Courage, careful preparation, genuine curiosity, and profound humility connect every explorer who has reached this exact floor. Whether motivated by scientific ambition, childhood fascination,
systematic goals, or professional research.
That shared experience, we believe, says something meaningful about human curiosity itself, regardless of individual motivation. We are drawn toward extremes, toward places testing our limits, revealing something essential about who we truly are. This trench, in its own quiet, crushing way, has revealed exactly that essential quality across nearly 7 decades.
We honor every explorer who has contributed to that revelation, carrying their courage forward into our remaining chapters. 2 chapters remain, each bringing us closer toward a complete, honest understanding of this remarkable trench.
We move now toward the trench's future, examining what remains still undiscovered within this remarkable, extreme environment. Despite nearly 7 decades of exploration, this trench remains, in many ways, genuinely mysterious and largely unknown. Fewer than 30 successful expeditions have ever reached this exact floor across this entire, nearly century-long timeline. That number pales compared to the thousands who have summited Mount Everest across roughly the same time frame. This comparison reveals just how genuinely difficult, expensive, and specialized reaching this trench remains even today.
Unlike a mountain, accessible eventually to determined climbers with proper training, this trench demands specialized vessels entirely.
No amount of personal training or physical preparation alone can substitute for this required specialized engineering entirely.
This dependency on specialized technology likely explains why this trench remains far less culturally recognized than Everest. Fewer people can realistically aspire toward reaching here, limiting the cultural momentum built around personal achievement. This documentary hopes, in its own small way, to help close that recognition gap even slightly further. This trench deserves genuine recognition, matching the courage and engineering required to finally understand it thoroughly. We offer that recognition now, carrying it forward into our remaining exploration of this trench's future significance. Researchers continue planning future expeditions here, each hoping to add new understanding to this remarkable environment. New technology continues emerging, gradually making this exploration more accessible, more affordable, and more thorough. Some researchers speculate that within decades, reaching this trench may become significantly more routine than today. That routine accessibility, if achieved, would fundamentally transform how thoroughly we understand this remarkable environment.
We look forward to that transformation, carrying genuine hope for this trench's continued scientific exploration ahead.
For now, we have completed our examination of the explorers who first made this understanding genuinely possible.
From a Swiss engineer and American naval officer to a filmmaker, a businessman, and countless dedicated scientists,
each contributed something essential, building together the complete understanding we have shared throughout this documentary.
We are grateful to each of them, carrying their combined courage and curiosity forward into our final 2 chapters.
We turn now toward the trench's connection to broader human concerns, reaching well beyond simple exploration achievement. We examined pollution reaching this trench earlier, plastic debris resting quietly upon its otherwise pristine floor. That discovery carries weight extending far beyond this single trench, touching every ocean across our entire planet. If plastic reaches even here, the deepest, most remote point on Earth, no ocean truly remains entirely protected.
Explorers who witnessed this pollution firsthand often describe genuine shock, expecting pristine emptiness rather than contamination.
That shock has motivated several explorers toward advocacy, speaking publicly about ocean conservation following their own personal experience. Their first-hand testimony carries particular weight, having witnessed pollution's reach more directly than nearly anyone else alive. This is exploration's quieter legacy, not simply reaching remarkable places, but returning changed by what was witnessed. We carry that legacy forward now, toward our examination of this trench's genuine future and remaining possibilities. We have now examined every major aspect defining this trench, from geology through biology through human exploration. 2 chapters remain, gathering everything learned together into a complete, honest, final reflection on this journey. We move toward that reflection now, carrying every lesson learned throughout this remarkable, careful documentary journey.
12 people have walked on the moon. Fewer than that have stood where we have traveled throughout this documentary.
That comparison opened our journey, and it continues carrying genuine weight as our exploration nears its conclusion. We have traced history, science, engineering, and genuine human courage across 4 complete, careful chapters together. 2 chapters remain, bringing this entire journey toward its complete, honest, and genuinely meaningful conclusion. We move toward those final chapters now, carrying every explorer's courage forward into this documentary's closing reflection.
We have met the Swiss engineer and American naval officer, partners across the very first historic descent. We have met the filmmaker, solitary and determined, reigniting interest after 50 years of quiet dormancy. We have met the businessman, systematic and repeated, bringing scientists and specialists directly to this remarkable floor.
We have met the former astronaut, connecting 2 extreme worlds through her own remarkable, dual achievement entirely. We hit the scientists, geologists, and biologists, extending careful research directly into this trench's remarkable depths. Each explorer, in their own distinct way, contributed toward the complete story we have shared throughout this journey. We carry their collective courage forward now, toward our final examination of this trench's remaining scientific significance. We approach now the final 2 chapters of this documentary, gathering everything examined into complete, honest reflection. That reflection will address this trench's future, its ongoing significance, and everything still waiting to be discovered.
We move toward it now, grateful for every explorer whose courage brought us this remarkably far already.
This has been the story of the people who chose to trust engineering against overwhelming, crushing odds. That trust, repeated across nearly 7 decades, revealed a trench far more remarkable than anyone initially imagined. We carry that revelation forward now, into our final chapters, bringing this entire documentary toward its close.
We have now completed our examination of the explorers themselves, honoring their courage across nearly 7 decades.
That completion brings us naturally toward considering what remains still ahead within this remarkable trench's future. Scientists estimate that less than 5% of this trench has been thoroughly explored even now, today. That statistic alone reveals just how much genuine mystery still remains within this remarkable, extraordinary environment. We look forward to those discoveries, carrying genuine curiosity forward into our documentary's final, closing chapter together. We thank every explorer examined throughout this chapter, honoring their courage, curiosity, and genuine personal sacrifice. Their combined efforts revealed a trench worthy of far greater recognition than it typically receives today. We hope this documentary contributes meaningfully toward that recognition, honoring their story as thoroughly as possible. We have crossed nearly 7 decades of history, from a weighted rope to repeated, reliable modern exploration. Typical. We have met Pacific snailfish, giant amphipods, xenophyophores, and microbes surviving pressure beyond. We have traced titanium spheres, syntactic foam, and autonomous vehicles, expanding this trench's careful, patient study.
We have honored the explorers themselves, their courage, curiosity, and genuine personal sacrifice.
Together, these threads form a complete, honest picture of this remarkable trench, worthy of genuine, lasting recognition. We carry that picture forward now, toward our documentary's final 2 chapters, and genuinely closing reflection. The light ahead continues brightening, this chapter's own historic journey drawing steadily toward its natural conclusion. We have walked alongside every explorer's memory throughout this chapter, honoring their courage as thoroughly as possible. That journey, from a Swiss engineer to modern scientists, spans nearly 7 decades of genuine human curiosity. We move now toward our final 2 chapters, gathering every thread into a complete, honest, closing reflection together. History brought us here. Science explained what we found. Engineering made witnessing it genuinely possible. Human courage carried us the rest of the way. Explorer after explorer trusting engineering against overwhelming odds. We have honored every explorer, traced every journey, and carried their courage forward throughout this entire chapter. That legacy now belongs to this documentary's remaining chapters, carried forward into our final, complete reflection. We move toward that reflection now, gathering history, science, engineering, and human courage into. We have crossed nearly 7 miles of ocean and nearly 7 decades of human history throughout this documentary. Both distances, physical and historical, have brought us toward genuine, hard-earned understanding of this remarkable trench. We carry that understanding forward now, into our documentary's final 2 chapters, and toward its genuine conclusion. We thank every explorer, engineer, and scientist who contributed toward this remarkable, complete story throughout this chapter. Their combined courage, curiosity, and careful preparation made this entire documentary's journey genuinely possible. We honor that possibility now, carrying it forward into our documentary's final, complete, and genuinely meaningful chapters. We move now toward our documentary's final reflection, gathering everything examined into one complete, honest conclusion. That conclusion waits patiently just ahead, ready to bring this entire journey toward its genuine, complete close. We carry this entire chapter's story forward now, honoring every explorer who trusted engineering against overwhelming odds. That trust, repeated across nearly 7 decades, revealed a trench far more remarkable than anyone initially imagined possible. We carry that revelation forward now, into our documentary's final 2 chapters, and toward its complete, honest conclusion. The light ahead grows steadily brighter now, this chapter's historic. Next, we examine what remains undiscovered and what this trench still has left to teach us. That is part 5.
Before we rise fully toward that light, we pause once more within this darkness. This trench holds more than its single deepest point, branching into passages rarely examined closely. Most expeditions here focus entirely on reaching the single deepest confirmed point within this basin. That focus, understandable given resource constraints, has left much of this surrounding terrain genuinely unexamined. This passage alone stretches for miles, mapped only roughly through sonar rather than direct visual examination. Recent sonar surveys suggest additional depressions nearby, potentially rivaling the main basin in genuine depth. No vessel has yet confirmed these readings directly, leaving genuine uncertainty about this trench's complete true shape. This uncertainty itself represents a genuine frontier, waiting patiently for future, more thorough expeditions here.
Scientists studying this trench openly acknowledge how much remains genuinely unknown, even after decades of study.
Every expedition here reliably documents species never previously observed, a pattern unlikely to change soon.
This particular creature, discovered only recently, still awaits formal scientific classification and detailed description.
Taxonomists working through samples collected here face a genuine backlog, more species discovered than formally named.
This process, careful and deliberate, ensures accuracy, but inevitably creates delays measured in years, not months. Modern genetic sequencing has accelerated this process somewhat, comparing new samples against existing databases quickly.
A single genetic sample can now confirm whether a creature represents something genuinely new within hours, not years.
This technology has genuinely transformed how quickly scientists can process discoveries made throughout each expedition. Even with this acceleration, researchers estimate decades of work remain before fully cataloging this trench's biodiversity.
That timeline, though lengthy, reflects genuine scientific care rather than any lack of dedicated, ongoing effort. We return now toward our primary ascent, carrying this unexplored passage's mystery forward with us.
That mystery will wait patiently, exactly as it has for millions of years, until future expeditions return. We examined briefly this trench's connection to astrobiology earlier, comparing it to icy moons within our own solar system.
That comparison deserves closer examination now, as our journey continues rising toward this chapter's conclusion.
Europa, one of Jupiter's moons, likely holds a liquid ocean beneath miles of frozen, solid surface ice.
Scientists studying that ocean face challenges remarkably similar to those encountered throughout this exact trench.
Extreme pressure, complete darkness, and total isolation define both environments, despite existing millions of miles apart. Researchers actively study organisms found here, specifically to understand what life might resemble on Europa. The piezolites protecting proteins within snailfish cells offer a genuine model for pressure-resistant biology elsewhere.
If life adapted this successfully here, similar adaptation becomes genuinely plausible within Europa's equally extreme ocean.
NASA has funded research specifically examining this trench's microbial life as preparation for future Europa missions. This connection places our own planet's deepest point directly within humanity's broader search for life beyond Earth. Enceladus, a moon of Saturn, presents a similar opportunity, its icy surface concealing another suspected ocean. Spacecraft have already detected organic molecules venting from this moon's surface, hinting at genuine biological potential.
Understanding chemosynthesis here, within this trench, directly informs how scientists interpret those distant, tantalizing signals.
This trench, remarkably, has become an unlikely training ground for humanity's search across our entire solar system.
We now turn toward this trench's role within Earth's own climate system, a connection examined briefly earlier.
This trench sits within the Pacific Ocean's broader circulation system, connected to currents spanning the entire globe. Deep water formed near polar regions eventually settles into trenches exactly like this one, carrying dissolved carbon downward. This process, called the biological pump, removes significant carbon from our atmosphere, storing it here for centuries. Scientists studying climate change increasingly recognize trenches like this one as genuinely significant carbon storage systems.
Understanding exactly how much carbon these trenches store helps refine broader climate models used worldwide today. This is precisely why the sediment core samples we described earlier carry such genuine scientific weight and value. Every layer examined helps researchers understand not just this trench's past, but our planet's entire, shared future. We carry this connection forward now, toward this trench's equally significant contributions within modern medicine.
We mentioned briefly how piezolites now inform vaccine storage research, a connection worth examining further here. Pharmaceutical researchers have begun screening deep-sea microbes here for compounds with genuine medical potential.
Extreme environments often produce unusual biochemistry, compounds unlike anything found within more accessible ecosystems.
Several compounds discovered within similar deep-sea environments have already led to genuinely promising cancer treatment research. This trench, specifically, remains largely unexplored for this exact purpose, representing genuine, untapped medical potential. Future expeditions may specifically target this trench for pharmaceutical screening, expanding beyond purely biological documentation.
This possibility alone justifies continued investment in careful, thorough exploration throughout this remarkable environment.
Materials science, too, continues drawing inspiration from adaptations discovered throughout this trench's remarkable ecosystem.
Engineers studying pressure-resistant biological structures hope to develop new materials mimicking these natural, efficient designs.
This field, called biomimicry, increasingly looks toward extreme environments exactly like this trench for genuine inspiration. Future submersible hulls, medical devices, and even space equipment may eventually incorporate designs first observed here. That legacy extends remarkably far beyond this trench's own remote, isolated location, deep within the Pacific.
We turn now toward the technology that may soon transform how thoroughly humanity studies this remarkable trench.
Artificial intelligence increasingly assists researchers analyzing the vast amounts of footage collected throughout each expedition. Algorithms can now identify and catalog creatures within thousands of hours of footage far faster than human review alone. This technology does not replace careful human scientific judgment, but genuinely accelerates the initial, time-consuming review process. Researchers can now focus their expertise on genuinely novel discoveries, rather than routine cataloging work entirely. This efficiency gain matters enormously, given how much footage a single expedition here can genuinely generate.
A single dive can produce hours of continuous footage, requiring careful, thorough analysis afterward by dedicated researchers.
Artificial intelligence helps manage this volume, flagging unusual sightings for immediate, dedicated human expert review. This collaboration between artificial intelligence and human expertise represents exploration's genuinely evolving future methodology. We also examine now how citizen involvement continues expanding this trench's public understanding and genuine engagement. Some recent expeditions have live-streamed footage directly to the public, allowing anyone worldwide to witness this trench. This transparency represents a genuine shift away from exploration conducted privately, away from broader public awareness entirely.
Students, educators, and curious individuals worldwide can now witness discoveries here happening in genuinely real time.
This access, unimaginable during the Trieste's historic descent, has genuinely transformed public engagement with deep-sea science. We hope this documentary itself contributes meaningfully toward that same broader, genuinely valuable public engagement. We turn now toward this trench's protection status, an issue carrying genuine, immediate practical significance.
This trench lies primarily within international waters, complicating exactly which laws genuinely apply throughout this region.
Portions do fall within United States territorial waters, specifically surrounding the nearby Mariana Islands themselves. In 2009, this region received designation as a marine national monument, offering some genuine protection. This protection limits certain activities, including commercial fishing and mineral extraction within this specific designated area. Scientific research, however, continues under careful permit, balancing protection against genuine ongoing study needs. This balance represents a genuinely reasonable approach, protecting this environment while still allowing valuable scientific progress. Not every deep-sea environment receives this same level of protection, leaving many trenches genuinely vulnerable elsewhere. Deep-sea mining interests increasingly target other trenches, seeking valuable minerals concentrated along their crushing, remote floors. This trench's protected status genuinely shields it from that specific threat, at least for the foreseeable future ahead. Conservation advocates continue pushing for similar protection across additional deep-sea trenches found throughout the world. This trench, in this sense, serves as a genuine model for how deep-sea protection might successfully function elsewhere. We carry this model forward now, hoping it inspires similar protection throughout other equally remarkable, vulnerable environments. We have now examined this trench's undiscovered mysteries, its scientific connections, and its genuine conservation status. Each element reveals a trench far more significant, far more connected than most people ever genuinely realize.
We turn now toward one final undiscovered element, a question researchers continue actively working to genuinely answer.
Even this trench's exact, precise depth remains subject to ongoing scientific debate and continued careful measurement. Different expeditions have recorded slightly different maximum depths, ranging within roughly 40 meters of each other.
This variation stems partly from genuine measurement difficulty and partly from the trench's own naturally shifting, dynamic floor.
Sediment accumulation, seismic activity, and tectonic movement all contribute gradually to this trench's constantly evolving depth. This is not a static location, frozen permanently at one exact measurement, but a genuinely living, changing landscape. Future measurements will likely continue refining our understanding, even as this trench itself continues slowly, patiently changing. That ongoing refinement represents science functioning exactly as intended, updating understanding as new evidence emerges continuously. We embrace this uncertainty honestly, rather than presenting false, artificial precision this trench genuinely does not possess. This honesty matters, especially given decades of exaggeration once surrounding legends like the Bermuda Triangle elsewhere. This trench requires no exaggeration whatsoever. Its genuine, documented reality already remarkable enough on its own merit. We have tried throughout this entire documentary to honor that genuine reality, without any unnecessary embellishment whatsoever. That restraint, we believe, ultimately serves this trench far better than any exaggerated, sensationalized alternative could. We move now toward this chapter's conclusion, gathering everything examined into a complete, forward-looking reflection. We have examined unexplored passages, astrobiology connections, climate significance, and genuine medical potential together. We have examined emerging technology, growing public engagement, and this trench's genuinely fortunate conservation status. Each thread, woven together carefully, reveals a trench whose significance extends genuinely far beyond simple novelty. This is not simply the deepest point on Earth, but a genuine laboratory informing fields far beyond oceanography alone. Astrobiology, climate science, medicine, and materials engineering all draw genuine, ongoing inspiration from this remarkable trench. That inspiration will likely continue growing as future technology allows even more thorough, careful, ongoing exploration ahead. We look forward to that continued growth, carrying genuine hope for this trench's remarkable, still unfolding future ahead. We also carry forward genuine concern, recognizing this trench's fragility despite its overwhelming, crushing physical scale. Plastic pollution, climate change, and potential future exploitation all threaten this environment despite its remote, isolated location. We have not shied away from these genuine concerns throughout this documentary, believing honesty serves this trench far better. That honesty, we believe, ultimately strengthens rather than diminishes genuine appreciation for this remarkable, extraordinary environment. We carry this appreciation forward now, toward our documentary's final chapter and its complete, closing reflection together. One chapter remains, gathering history, science, engineering, human courage, and future promise into one complete story. We move toward that story now, carrying every lesson learned throughout this remarkable, careful documentary journey together. We have descended nearly 7 miles, crossing every zone this ocean contains along this careful, patient way. We have traced titanium spheres, syntactic foam, autonomous robots, and artificial intelligence, expanding this trench's careful study. We have honored the explorers themselves, their courage, curiosity, and genuine personal sacrifice across nearly 7 decades. We have examined what remains undiscovered, connecting this trench toward astrobiology, climate, medicine, and materials science. Together, these threads form a complete, honest picture of this remarkable trench, worthy of genuine, lasting recognition. We carry that picture forward now, toward our documentary's final chapter and its genuinely complete, closing reflection. The water continues brightening steadily now, this chapter's own careful, thorough journey drawing gradually toward its close.
We have walked through this trench's remaining mysteries, honoring both what we know and what genuinely remains unknown.
That balance between confident knowledge and honest uncertainty defines genuine scientific integrity throughout every field. We have tried to honor that integrity throughout this entire documentary, presenting fact clearly while acknowledging genuine uncertainty honestly. That balance, we believe, ultimately serves this remarkable trench far better than either false certainty or unwarranted exaggeration. We move now toward our documentary's final reflection, gathering everything examined into one complete, honest conclusion. That conclusion waits patiently just ahead, ready to bring this entire journey toward its genuine, complete close.
We are nearly there now.
Soon, sunlight will return fully, marking the completion of this documentary's long, careful, patient descent and ascent. That return will carry us toward this documentary's final words, gathering every lesson into one complete, honest reflection.
We have covered fact, history, science, engineering, human courage, and future promise. One chapter remains, bringing this entire documentary toward its complete, honest, and genuinely meaningful conclusion together.
We move toward that final chapter now, carrying every lesson learned throughout this entire, careful documentary journey. A trench once assumed empty revealed itself as genuinely, remarkably alive at every single level throughout. From microbes surviving impossible pressure to amphipods scavenging efficiently across this entire trench floor patiently. From the delicate xenophyophore to the resilient tardigrade, each creature told its own remarkable, patient story.
A titanium sphere resting quietly there now represents decades of careful, patient human achievement and dedication.
It carried explorers safely to depths once considered entirely impossible for any human being to genuinely reach.
A Swiss engineer, an American naval officer, a filmmaker, a businessman, and countless dedicated scientists made this possible. Each contributed something essential, building together the complete understanding we have shared throughout this entire journey.
We are grateful to each of them, carrying their combined courage and curiosity forward toward this final chapter.
We move now toward that final chapter, gathering history, science, engineering, and human courage into one closing reflection. The water grows lighter now, warmer, carrying us steadily toward the surface and this documentary's genuine conclusion. We have crossed nearly 7 miles of ocean and nearly 7 decades of human history throughout this entire documentary.
Both distances, physical and historical, have brought us toward genuine, hard-earned understanding of this remarkable environment.
We carry that understanding forward now, into our documentary's final chapter, and toward its genuine, complete conclusion. We thank every explorer, engineer, and scientist who contributed toward this remarkable, complete story throughout this entire journey. Their combined courage, curiosity, and careful preparation made this entire documentary's journey genuinely possible together. We honor that possibility now, carrying it forward into our documentary's final, complete, and genuinely meaningful chapter together. We move now toward our documentary's final reflection, gathering everything examined into one complete, honest conclusion together. That conclusion waits patiently just ahead, ready to bring this entire journey toward its genuine, complete, and honest close. We carry this entire chapter's story forward now, honoring every scientist and explorer who trusted careful, honest inquiry. That trust, repeated across nearly 7 decades, revealed a trench far more remarkable than anyone initially imagined possible. We carry that revelation forward now, into our documentary's final chapter, and toward its complete, honest conclusion together. The water continues warming steadily now, sunlight beginning to genuinely penetrate through the gradually clearing depths above. This light, absent for nearly 7 miles of careful, patient descent, now returns steadily, marking our approaching conclusion. We rise now through the abyssal plain, through the midnight zone, through the twilight zone we first crossed. Small fish reappear gradually, silhouettes we recognize from our very first descent at the start of this journey. That recognition carries its own quiet emotion, this documentary's long journey finally circling back toward its beginning. We began at the surface, high above this trench, gazing downward toward a distance difficult to genuinely imagine. We now return to that same surface, carrying an entire documentary's worth of genuine understanding with us. That understanding, hard-earned across 5 complete chapters, now guides us toward this documentary's final, closing reflection.
We move toward that reflection now, grateful for everything this remarkable trench has patiently taught us throughout. 12 people have walked on the moon. Fewer than that have traveled where we have traveled throughout this documentary.
That comparison, carried throughout this entire journey, now approaches its final, complete, and genuinely meaningful expression.
We have traced history, science, engineering, and genuine future.
One chapter remains, bringing this entire documentary toward its complete, honest, and genuinely meaningful final conclusion. We move toward that chapter now, carrying every lesson learned throughout this entire, careful documentary journey together. The water grows brighter still, sunlight now clearly visible ahead, marking our steady approach toward the surface. That surface, once nearly 7 miles above us, now waits patiently just ahead, ready to complete this journey. We carry everything learned throughout this entire descent and ascent toward that waiting, sunlit, familiar surface above.
We have examined this trench completely, from its deepest floor to its remaining, genuine, still unfolding mysteries.
That examination, honest and thorough throughout, has revealed a trench worthy of genuine, lasting, and complete recognition. We offer that recognition now, carrying it forward into our documentary's final chapter and its genuine, complete conclusion. We are nearly at the surface now, this entire remarkable journey finally reaching its natural, complete, and honest conclusion. Those ripples, gentle and familiar, mark the very edge between this trench's darkness and the world above it. We approach that edge now, carrying this entire documentary's careful, thorough, and genuinely complete journey toward its close.
We have crossed nearly 7 miles of ocean, 5 complete chapters, and nearly 7 decades of remarkable human history.
That crossing has brought us, finally, toward this documentary's last remaining chapter and its complete, honest conclusion.
We carry every lesson, every creature, and every explorer's courage toward that final, complete reflection now.
We thank this trench itself, patient and extraordinary, for revealing exactly what it always genuinely was. Not simply the deepest point on Earth, but a genuine, thriving, scientifically vital world worthy of continued care. We carry that care forward now, into our documentary's genuinely final, complete, and closing reflection together. We are ready now, finally, to bring this entire remarkable documentary toward its complete, honest, and meaningful close. The surface waits just ahead now, close enough to see clearly, this entire journey's natural conclusion finally within reach. We move toward it now, carrying 5 complete chapters worth of genuine understanding toward this final, complete reflection. This light, warm, and familiar marks our genuine return after this entire documentary's long, careful, patient journey. We are nearly there now, this remarkable journey through history, science, and human courage finally reaching its close. We carry this entire documentary's complete story toward that surface now, ready for our final, closing reflection together. This trench, patient and extraordinary, has taught us more than we ever expected when this journey first began. We carry those lessons forward now, grateful for everything this remarkable environment has patiently shown us. We move now, finally, toward our documentary's last chapter and its complete, honest, and meaningful conclusion together. We are ready now, at last, to complete this remarkable journey and share this documentary's final, closing words.
This is where our 5th chapter ends, at the very edge between this trench's darkness and the world above.
We pause here briefly, gathering ourselves before finally breaking through toward this documentary's genuine conclusion. We have traced this trench completely now, from its deepest floor toward this final, sunlit, welcoming surface above. That tracing, honest and thorough throughout, has revealed a trench worthy of genuine, lasting, complete recognition. We carry that recognition forward now, ready to break through toward our documentary's final, complete conclusion. We rise now, this final small distance, toward the surface and this documentary's genuinely complete, honest conclusion.
This is nearly the end of our 5th chapter, this entire remarkable journey finally, genuinely reaching its natural close.
We carry everything learned throughout this entire documentary toward that final surface, ready for our genuine conclusion. History brought us here. Science explained what we found. Engineering made witnessing it genuinely possible throughout.
Human courage carried us the rest of the way. Explorer after explorer trusting careful engineering against overwhelming odds.
We are ready now, finally, to bring this entire documentary toward its complete, honest, and genuinely meaningful conclusion. One chapter remains, carrying us closer toward understanding exactly what this remarkable trench truly, genuinely means. We move toward that chapter now, grateful for every explorer whose courage made this journey genuinely possible throughout. This has been their story, told as honestly and completely as this documentary could manage throughout the entire journey.
We carry it forward now,
into our documentary's final chapter and toward its genuinely complete conclusion together.
The light continues brightening steadily now, this entire chapter's historic, thorough journey finally reaching its natural end. We have honored every mystery, traced every connection, and carried genuine hope forward throughout this entire chapter. That legacy now belongs to this documentary's final chapter, carried forward into our complete, closing reflection together.
We move toward that reflection now, gathering history, science, engineering, and human courage into one final, complete story.
We have crossed nearly 7 miles of ocean and nearly 7 decades of human history throughout this entire journey. Both distances, physical and historical, have brought us toward genuine, hard-earned understanding of this remarkable environment. We carry that understanding forward now, into our documentary's final, complete chapter, and toward its genuine conclusion.
We thank every explorer, engineer, and scientist who contributed toward this remarkable, complete story throughout our journey.
Their combined courage, curiosity, and careful preparation made this entire documentary's journey genuinely possible together. We honor that possibility now, carrying it forward into our documentary's final, complete, and genuinely meaningful chapter. We move now toward our documentary's final reflection, gathering everything examined into one complete, honest conclusion. That conclusion waits patiently just ahead, ready to bring this entire journey toward its genuine, complete close. We are ready now, at the very edge between darkness and light, to complete this remarkable journey together. This has been our 5th chapter, exploring what remains undiscovered within this trench's remarkable, patient depths. We carry its lessons forward now, ready finally to break through toward our documentary's true, complete conclusion. This is where our 5th chapter ends, and where our documentary's final, complete reflection genuinely begins. Next, we break the surface and bring this entire journey to its final, complete reflection. That is part 6.
The surface breaks now, water parting gently as sunlight finally floods across the camera fully.
This is the surface, exactly as we left it, calm and endless, stretching toward every horizon. Nothing about this surface hints at what lies nearly 7 miles directly beneath this exact spot. We know better now, having traced that entire distance carefully across this documentary's complete journey. We began at this same altitude, gazing downward toward a distance we could barely comprehend.
12 people have walked on the surface of the moon since humanity first reached beyond this planet.
Fewer than that have ever reached the point we spent this entire documentary carefully exploring together. That comparison opened our journey, and it now closes it, having carried genuine weight throughout every chapter.
We began with a naval survey ship in 1875, lowering a simple weighted rope downward.
Nearly a century later, 2 men descended within a small steel sphere, trusting engineering barely tested.
A cracked window, a violent shudder, and a determined decision to continue downward regardless of genuine risk.
Their reward arrived quietly. A pale flatfish seaman, specifically a small halibut. For 50 years afterward, this trench waited patiently, its story preserved only within quiet scientific records. A filmmaker, carrying childhood fascination into adulthood, finally returned here alone within a narrow vessel. His solitude, profound and meditative, reignited public interest after decades of quiet, patient dormancy. A businessman followed soon after, systematic and determined, returning repeatedly across an entire remarkable year. He brought scientists, geologists, and a former astronaut, each adding new understanding to this remarkable trench. Together, across nearly 7 decades, these explorers revealed a trench far more remarkable than anyone first imagined. Not a barren, lifeless void, but a thriving, complex ecosystem adapted completely to crushing, extreme pressure. We met a snailfish there, its body rewritten by evolution to survive pressure beyond ordinary imagination. Its cells contained piezolites, molecules protecting proteins from collapsing under this extraordinary crushing force. We met amphipods too, some grown remarkably large, scavenging efficiently across this entire trench floor. We met xenophytophores, single-celled organisms grown impossibly large, and tardigrades, resilient beyond nearly all comprehension. We met microbes surviving pressure exceeding even this trench's own extreme, crushing, documented depths. Their resilience now informs research reaching toward Europa, toward Enceladus, toward life possibly existing beyond Earth. This trench, remote and crushing, has become an unlikely training ground for humanity's search across our entire solar system. We also traced its role within Earth's own climate system, carbon settling patiently into this trench's undisturbed floor. We traced its medical potential, piezolites informing vaccine research, deep-sea microbes offering genuine pharmaceutical promise. We traced its engineering, titanium spheres and syntactic foam, autonomous robots and artificial intelligence expanding this study.
We traced the humans themselves, their courage, their curiosity, their willingness to trust careful engineering completely.
We traced what remains undiscovered, branching passages, uncatalogued species, and questions still genuinely unanswered. Less than 5% of this trench has been thoroughly explored, even after nearly 7 decades of study.
That statistic alone should humble anyone who believes exploration has somehow reached its natural, complete conclusion.
This trench remains, even now, genuinely more mysterious than fully understood, more question than complete answer. We find that genuinely exciting rather than frustrating, a reminder that meaningful discovery still waits patiently ahead. Future explorers, using technology not yet fully developed, will likely surpass everything we have shared throughout this documentary. We welcome that surpassing genuinely, understanding that documentaries like this one mark progress, not any final destination.
This trench will continue teaching, long after every explorer we have honored has completed their own personal journey.
It will continue existing exactly as it has for millions of years, entirely indifferent to any documentary made about it. That indifference, we find, offers its own quiet comfort amid everything we have carefully examined together.
Nature does not require our understanding to continue functioning exactly as it always has, patiently and completely.
Our understanding simply allows us to appreciate that function more completely, more respectfully, more genuinely than before. We hope this documentary has offered you exactly that, genuine appreciation grounded firmly in careful, honest fact. Not exaggeration, not sensationalism, but the genuine, remarkable truth this trench has always quietly possessed. That truth needed no embellishment whatsoever, its genuine reality already remarkable enough on its own considerable merit. We have tried, across all 6 chapters, to honor that merit as completely and honestly as possible throughout. We began at this same altitude, gazing downward toward a place few humans have ever genuinely witnessed. We end here now, having traveled that entire distance together, carrying genuine understanding back toward the surface. That journey, honest and thorough throughout, revealed a trench worthy of genuine, lasting, complete recognition. We offer that recognition now, complete and genuine, gathered from every chapter we have carefully shared together.
12 people have walked on the moon. This documentary honored the fewer who have stood where we traveled.
That honoring extended across engineers, scientists, filmmakers, businessmen, and dedicated researchers alike throughout. Each contributed something essential, building together the complete story we have shared throughout this entire journey. We are grateful to each of them, carrying their combined courage and curiosity into this documentary's final words. We are also grateful to this trench itself, patient and extraordinary, for revealing exactly what it always genuinely was. Not a curse, not a void, not simply the deepest point on Earth, but a genuine, thriving, remarkable world. A world worthy of continued care, continued study, and continued genuine respect from everyone who learns about it. We hope you now carry that respect forward, wherever your own curiosity leads you across this remarkable, connected planet. This trench, remote as it seems, connects directly to every ocean, every coastline, every living creature sharing this earth. What happens here quietly echoes outward, whether the wider world happens to notice or genuinely not. That echo reaches toward climate models, medical research, space exploration, and countless fields far beyond simple oceanography. We have traced that influence throughout this documentary, honoring connections most people never realize genuinely exist.
This is not simply the deepest point on Earth, but a genuine thread connecting nearly every field of modern science.
That thread deserves genuine recognition, standing alongside space exploration as one of humanity's quietest, most patient achievements. We have tried, throughout this entire documentary, to close that recognition gap even slightly further together.
We believe this trench deserves recognition, matching the courage and engineering required to genuinely understand it.
We have offered that recognition as completely as this documentary genuinely could, throughout all 6 chapters. We move now toward this documentary's genuinely final words, gathering everything into one complete, honest reflection.
History brought us here. A weighted rope in 1875, marking this journey's genuine beginning.
Science explained what we found there, biology and physics working together to reveal genuine, remarkable truth. Engineering made witnessing that truth genuinely possible. Titanium and syntactic foam resisting pressure once thought impossible.
Human courage carried us the rest of the way, explorer after explorer trusting careful engineering against overwhelming odds.
That trust, repeated across nearly 7 decades, revealed a trench far more remarkable than anyone initially imagined possible. We are ready now, finally, to bring this entire documentary toward its complete, honest, and genuinely meaningful conclusion.
This has been Challenger Deep, the point where the ocean ends and where genuine understanding truly begins.
We thank every explorer who trusted careful engineering enough to descend nearly 7 miles into total darkness. We thank every scientist who patiently studied samples, footage, and data collected across nearly 7 decades. We thank every engineer who refined titanium spheres, syntactic foam, and autonomous systems across generations of careful work.
We thank this trench itself, patient and extraordinary.
We thank you for staying with us through history, biology, engineering, human courage, and genuine future promise. We hope you leave this journey with something more valuable than simple facts, genuine wonder grounded in honest understanding.
That wonder belongs not only to this trench, but to every extreme environment quietly shaping our remarkable planet.
Wherever you find your own extreme, your own edge of understanding, we hope you approach it with this same care. Curiosity paired with careful preparation, courage paired with genuine humility, ambition paired with lasting respect. These qualities, demonstrated repeatedly throughout this trench's remarkable history, apply far beyond simple ocean exploration alone. They apply to any genuine pursuit of understanding, any honest attempt to reach beyond what feels comfortably familiar. This trench simply offered one especially clear, especially crushing example of what that pursuit genuinely requires. We hope this documentary has honored that requirement fully, treating this remarkable trench with the respect it earned. We move now toward our final words, carrying every explorer, every creature, and every fact examined forward together.
12 people have walked on the moon. This documentary has told the story of the fewer who reached even deeper. That territory we now understand thoroughly holds life, holds history, holds genuine scientific significance beyond measure.
It holds connections to space, to climate, to medicine, to nearly every field humanity considers genuinely important.
It holds the courage of a Swiss engineer, an American naval officer, a filmmaker, and a determined businessman. It holds the dedication of scientists, geologists, biologists, and countless researchers extending their careful work here.
It holds a snailfish drifting calmly, an amphipod scavenging efficiently, a xenophyophore growing patiently across millions of years.
It holds a tardigrade, resilient beyond nearly all comprehension, and microbes surviving pressure beyond anything previously imagined.
It holds titanium spheres, syntactic foam, autonomous robots, and artificial intelligence expanding careful, patient study.
It holds 50 years of quiet dormancy, followed by decades of renewed, determined, careful, patient exploration.
It holds plastic debris, a sobering reminder that no corner of Earth remains fully beyond human influence.
It holds genuine protection status too, a marine national monument shielding this trench from certain modern threats.
It holds 95% still unexplored, a genuine frontier waiting patiently for generations still to come.
It holds all of this, and genuinely so much more, waiting patiently beneath this exact spot on our remarkable planet. We have tried, across 6 complete chapters, to honor everything this trench genuinely holds within its crushing depths.
We hope we have succeeded, offering you genuine understanding rather than simple, forgettable entertainment throughout.
We hope this trench now means something more to you than simply the deepest point on any map.
We hope you now see it as we do, alive, connected, courageous, and genuinely worthy of continued care.
This is Challenger Deep, the point where the ocean ends and where our shared understanding truly begins. We are grateful, sincerely and completely, for every moment you have spent within this remarkable, careful journey.
This has been Underwater Extreme's complete telling of the deepest point found within any ocean on Earth. May you carry its lessons forward, wherever your own path leads across this remarkable, connected, extraordinary planet. May you remember the deep-sea snailfish, the amphipod, the xenophyophore, and the tardigrade, each teaching patience and resilience. May you remember the Swiss engineer, the naval officer, the filmmaker, and the businessman, each teaching genuine courage. May you remember the titanium sphere, the syntactic foam, and the autonomous robot, each teaching careful, patient engineering.
May you remember that curiosity, patiently followed, always leads somewhere more interesting than comfortable, familiar fear.
This is Underwater Extreme. Thank you for sharing this entire 6-part journey with us, from beginning to end. The trench remains. The story continues. And we are grateful you were here to find it with us. We leave this trench now exactly as we found it. Patient, extraordinary, and endlessly, quietly fascinating. Every creature, every current, every grain of sediment there continues its own story, entirely without our documentary. We were only ever brief visitors, grateful to have witnessed even a small part of that continuing, remarkable story. That brief witness has been an honor beyond anything a single documentary could properly, completely express. We hope you feel that same honor, carried forward from this remarkable, extraordinary, crushing point on Earth, Challenger Deep. Not simply the point where the ocean ends, but the point where genuine wonder truly begins. This is our final word on the deepest point our ocean genuinely contains, offered with sincere care and respect. May you always remember what lies beneath the surface of every ocean you ever cross or consider. May you always respect what nature holds beyond our full and complete human understanding entirely. May you always choose careful curiosity over comfortable fear, wherever your own path genuinely leads you. This is our ocean. This is our planet's living, restless, and genuinely extraordinary sea. And its story, like every wave that shapes it, is genuinely never truly finished, only quietly continuing. Somewhere, right now, another explorer prepares to descend, following the exact path we have carefully traced. Somewhere, right now, another scientist examines a sample collected from this trench's remote, undisturbed floor. Somewhere, right now, another engineer refines the technology that will one day carry humans even further. This is the eternal rhythm of Challenger Deep, endless, patient, and quietly, genuinely alive throughout. It has been the honor of this journey to share that rhythm with you, from beginning all the way toward end. From a runway high above to nearly 7 miles beneath the surface, this has been our complete, honest journey. We began chasing a simple comparison: fewer people at this depth than upon our own moon's surface. We end, gratefully, having found something far richer than that single comparison ever could have offered alone.
That world deserves to be remembered far more than any single statistic or simple comparison ever could alone.
We carry that world forward now, into these final words closing our documentary's complete, honest reflection.
We have crossed history, geology, biology, engineering, human courage, and
each step brought us further from simple curiosity and closer toward genuine, complete, hard-earned understanding. That understanding, we hope, now belongs to you as much as it genuinely belongs to us throughout. We are ready now, finally and completely, to close this journey exactly where it always genuinely belonged, in genuine gratitude, in honest understanding, and in lasting, sincere respect for this remarkable, extraordinary trench. Thank you for crossing this remarkable distance with us, from fear of the unknown toward genuine wonder. This is Challenger Deep, alive, extraordinary, patient, and finally, genuinely, completely understood together.
This has been Underwater Extreme's complete telling of the single deepest point found within any ocean.
may you carry its lessons forward, wherever your own path leads.
May you remember the reef, the trench, the darkness, and the light, long after this documentary ends.
May you remember the explorers who trusted careful engineering enough to descend into total, crushing darkness. May you remember that curiosity, patiently followed, always leads somewhere more interesting than comfortable, familiar fear.
This is Underwater Extreme. Thank you for sharing this entire 6-part journey with us, from start to finish. The trench remains, the story continues, and we are grateful, sincerely, that you were here to find it with us. We leave this trench now exactly as we found it. Patient, extraordinary, and endlessly. Every creature, every current, every grain of sediment there continues its own genuine story, entirely without us. That witnessing has been the true honor of this entire, remarkable, careful, documentary journey together. We hope you carry that same honor forward, from this remarkable, extraordinary, crushing point on Earth. Challenger Deep. Not simply the point where the ocean ends, but the point where genuine wonder truly, finally begins.
This is our final word on the science, the history, and the courage behind this remarkable, extraordinary trench.
May you always remember what lies beneath the surface of every ocean, every question, every genuine unknown.
May you always respect what nature holds beyond our full and complete human understanding, always and entirely. May you always choose careful curiosity over comfortable fear, wherever your own genuine path may lead. This is our ocean. This is our planet's deepest, most patient, and genuinely most extraordinary sea. And its story, like every wave that shapes it, is genuinely never truly finished, only quietly, patiently continuing. We thank you, one final time, for choosing to spend this entire remarkable journey alongside us. That choice, freely made, honored every explorer, every scientist, and every creature we carefully examined together. We carry it forward now, into this documentary's genuinely final, complete, and honest closing words together. The sun begins its slow descent now, exactly as it has every single evening above this remarkable water. Long before any survey ship ever lowered its weighted rope, this same light fell across this same water.
It will fall here again tomorrow, indifferent to every word this documentary has carefully, honestly spoken. Nearly 7 miles beneath this exact golden light, that trench continues exactly as it always genuinely has. The snailfish still drifts there, patient and adapted, entirely unaware of any documentary made about its home. The amphipods still scavenge there, efficient and patient, exactly as their ancestors have for millions of years. The microbes still convert minerals into energy there, quiet and essential, sustaining an entire hidden ecosystem. Nothing here vanished. Everything here simply continued, exactly as it was always genuinely meant to. That truth, simple and quiet, is the real conclusion this documentary has genuinely, carefully offered throughout.
We are grateful to have finally offered it, grounded firmly in history, science, engineering, and genuine wonder.
Not in fear, but in gratitude. Not in mystery, but in genuine, hard-earned, complete understanding throughout. Thank you for staying with us through history, tragedy, science, engineering, and finally, genuine wonder throughout. Thank you for letting this documentary replace simple curiosity with something better, complete, genuine understanding. This has been Underwater Extreme's telling of Challenger Deep, from beginning all the way toward true end. We move now toward the final words this remarkable, careful journey has genuinely, completely earned. This trench, this water, this entire remarkable environment has revealed exactly what it always genuinely was. Not a curse, not a mystery beyond understanding, simply an ocean, doing exactly what oceans genuinely do. We carry that simple truth forward now, into the final words of this entire documentary journey together. We are ready now, finally, to bring this entire journey to its honest, complete, and genuinely meaningful close.
Every fact examined, every explorer honored, every creature finally given its rightful, proper place throughout. This documentary began with a question, and it ends now with something better. A genuine, complete answer. That answer was never hidden. It was simply waiting, patiently, nearly 7 miles beneath this exact surface.
We are grateful to have finally found it, together, across this entire careful and honest journey throughout. This has been the Bermuda Triangle. This has been Drake Passage. This has been Challenger Deep.
3 remarkable stretches of ocean, each holding genuine history, genuine science, and genuine reason for lasting respect.
We are grateful to have shared each one with you, honestly and completely, throughout this entire channel's journey. We move now, at last, toward the final reflection this remarkable journey has genuinely, completely earned. It is a reflection built on evidence, gratitude, and genuine, lasting respect for our planet's deepest sea. We invite you to carry it forward for the closing words of this entire, remarkable, 6-part story. Every creature we have met has taught us something about patience, resilience, and quiet, genuine truth.
This trench alone taught us more honest wonder than any exaggerated tale of danger ever genuinely could.
We carry that wonder forward now, into the final chapter of this entire documentary journey together.
History gave us the beginning. Science gave us the truth. This trench gave us everything else entirely.
We are ready now to close this journey exactly where it always genuinely belonged, in complete gratitude. Thank you for crossing this legendary distance with us, from simple curiosity all the way toward genuine wonder. This is Challenger Deep, alive, extraordinary, patient, and finally, completely, genuinely understood together. We move now toward our documentary's genuinely final words, carrying every lesson and every fact together. This has been a journey worth taking, and a genuine truth worth finally, fully, completely telling. We thank every explorer, every scientist, every engineer who made this genuine telling possible throughout. We thank this water itself for revealing exactly what it always genuinely was, patiently, to anyone willing to look. We invite you to keep looking, Keep questioning, and keep seeking genuine understanding wherever you find yourself. That seeking, more than any single fact we have shared, is the true gift of this entire documentary. We began chasing a comparison, and we end instead having genuinely fallen in love with complete, honest truth. We hope, sincerely and completely, that this same quiet affection has found its way toward you as well. This trench asks only to be understood, and finally, patiently, we genuinely hope we have understood it well. Thank you for crossing this remarkable distance with us, from simple wonder all the way toward genuine knowledge. This is Challenger Deep, the point where the ocean ends, and where our shared understanding genuinely begins. This has been Underwater Extreme. Thank you for sharing this entire, remarkable, 6-part journey with us completely. The trench remains, our sea remains, and its complete story is genuinely, truly, far from over. This is our ocean. This is our planet's living, restless, and completely extraordinary sea. Forever. We leave it now exactly as we found it. Patient, extraordinary, and endlessly, genuinely, completely fascinating. This is Challenger Deep. This is our sea. And its story, like every ocean, is far from over. This is Challenger Deep. This is our sea. And its story is far from over.